Good morning, moderator. Are we ready to begin?
Yes, we are.
Chair, are we ready to begin?
Yes.
Good morning. I'm Scott Wyckoff, Executive Officer for the Board of Parole Hearings. Thank you for being with us today and welcome to the Board of Parole Hearings monthly executive board meeting. We are hosting this meeting in person and by video and telephone using Microsoft Teams. We have a temporary configuration for audio video in our boardroom, and due to the sensitivity of the microphones set up around the room, those attending in person are asked to be as quiet as possible so ambient sounds and conversations are not transmitted online. We have a majority of commissioners in person for this meeting as required by the law. Some of our commissioners are participating in the meeting remotely and will remain on camera unless they have technical problems. For those participating by video, if you experience connectivity issues during the meeting, we have found that turning off your camera may help you see and hear those who are speaking and help us to hear you when you are speaking. If you wish to speak today, you must let us know and be added to the speaker list. You can submit a speaker card available on the board's website under the tab called Board Meetings and the link called Meeting Agendas. Alternatively, you can call 916-267-0857 and provide your information and the case or item you would like to speak on. You can find additional documents with helpful instructions and tips for participating in today's meeting on the board's website. Just go to the tab at the top called Board Meetings and select the link for Meeting Agendas. There's also a helpline available during the meeting if you are experiencing difficulties. Please call 916-445-4072. The phone number is also on the first page of today's agenda and the agenda page of the board's website. If no one immediately answers your call, please leave a message. Someone will return your call as quickly as possible. Most commissioners and board staff use computers to take notes and see the video feed during the meeting, so please do not be concerned if a commissioner is looking at their computer while someone is speaking. Your comments are very important to us and we want to hear from everyone. For this reason, all microphones are disabled and comments may only be made after the moderator calls the speaker's name or identifies them by their login credentials. Once a speaker is called upon, they will be able to unmute their microphone to make a comment. This is why it is critical to add your information to the speaker list. Please be respectful and refrain from engaging in disruptive behavior or you may be removed from the meeting. The Penal Code provides that it is unlawful to disrupt or break up this meeting, and people who may be removed from the meeting if they are disruptive. In providing your statements today, please be mindful that you should note your support or opposition without addressing or rebutting comments made by other speakers. Because the parole process is not adversarial, all comments should be directed to the en banc panel. Please note that some speakers may include explicit crime details in their statements during this meeting. This could trigger strong reactions or be difficult to hear for some and is not appropriate for children. Written statements may be submitted to the email address on the agenda, and written statements are considered the same as oral comments. Today, we will first take care of some administrative matters. Then we will have a presentation on the board's proposed commutation and resentencing regulation, which is agenda item number 9. The board will accept comments on the regulations, which are limited to 1 minute per speaker. The board will then vote on the proposed regulations. After the vote on the regulations, we will hear general public comments regarding the board. Then we will take comments on the individual cases in the order the cases appear on the agenda. All general public comments and comments on cases are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. We ask that you please be respectful of these time limits. Also, if you timely submitted a written statement to the board, the commissioners will consider it. For this reason, you are encouraged to reference your written statement and use your time today to provide additional information as needed. Once the board has heard comments on each case on the agenda, the board will go into closed session to deliberate and vote on each case. Board staff will post the decisions for today's cases within 24 hours in the lobby on the ground floor of the board's office at 1515 K Street, Sacramento, and on the board's website. I will now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Barton.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today's date is May 19th, 2026. The Board of Parole Hearings Executive Board meeting is now in session. I will call the roll. Chairperson is present. Commissioner Cassidy.
Present.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Present.
Commissioner Garland.
Present.
Commissioner Infante.
Present.
Commissioner Kozel.
Present.
Commissioner Long,
Present.
Commissioner Minor,
Present.
Commissioner Muniz,
Present.
Commissioner Dudeen,
Present.
Commissioner O'Meara,
Present.
Commissioner Ruff,
Present.
Commissioner Sergeant Burns,
Present.
Commissioner Schneider,
Present.
Commissioner Sharif,
Present.
Commissioner Tyra,
Present.
Commissioner Thornton,
Present.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
and Commissioner Sheffield may be joining us a little later. I don't see her present. Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person at 1515 K Street in Sacramento. We will now turn to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are routine matters that require board approval. Does any board member have any comments or clarification regarding the April 2026 meeting minutes? Hearing none. Move on to the backlog report. The May backlog report is posted online on the board's website at the end of the consent calendar. Does any board member have any comments or clarifications regarding the backlog report? Again, hearing none. At this time, any member of the public may comment on the consent calendar, including the April minutes and the May backlog report. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. Please wait until we call your name or identify you by your login information to speak. Moderator, are there any comments on the consent calendar?
Chairperson, there are no comments on the consent calendar.
And I don't see anyone in person. All right, thank you, commissioners. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
Weiss moves. Second, Muniz.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will now call roll for the vote. Commissioner Cassidy.
Aye.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Aye.
Commissioner Garland.
Aye.
Commissioner Infante.
Aye.
Commissioner Kozel.
Aye.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Minor.
Aye.
Commissioner Muniz.
Aye.
Commissioner Udine.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Meara.
Aye.
Commissioner Ruff.
Aye.
Commissioner Sergeant Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Schneider.
Aye.
Commissioner Sharif.
Aye.
Commissioner Tyra.
Aye.
Commissioner Thornton.
Abstain.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
Chairperson votes aye. Motion carries. We will now hear a report from Executive Officer Scott Wyckoff.
Before beginning, we are having technical difficulties. Apparently, the podium cannot be seen, so we're going to take a minute to restart or hit a magic button or something. We are ready to restart. Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wyckoff. Go ahead.
Good morning again. I wanted to report on my and Jessica Blanian's attendance at the Association of Paroling Authorities International, APAI, conference in May. It was attended by more than half the states and representatives of Canada, the United Kingdom, and a few other countries also had people there. I believe there were more than 200 people in attendance. So over the course of 3 days, we heard an array of presentations. In general session, a couple of the highlights. One was entitled Resilient Optimism, which the basic concept behind it is how to remain grounded and to move forward when your work is complex and the path forward isn't always clear, which I thought was fairly reflective of our work here at the board. There was an interesting presentation by the executive director for the UK Paroling Authority on how they have improved and continued to enhance their transparency as an organization. Finally, I thought very interesting. There was a panel of commissioners from various states, and they talked about insights that they had gained over the last year from responding to fallout from unpopular decisions, which, given our experience recently, I thought was very timely and very interesting. And in a way, it was reassuring that we are not the only state that are facing challenges with that, and that other commissioners also experience that as well. There were some breakout panels, which I thought were very interesting also. Several discussions on the use of actuarial tools, such as our structured decision-making framework. There was an interesting presentation from the state of Utah on their efforts to improve outreach and help explain really what their board does and how they do it. And finally, there was a very informative presentation from the state of New Hampshire on how they are going about, through policy and procedures, creating a more trauma-informed organization. And very well worth our time, and I was very fortunate and feel proud to have represented California at the conference. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, I will conclude my presentation.
Mr. Wyckoff, or do you know if some of those are still available to us? In the past, when API has had some of their presentations, they are preserved either online or another way for members to access.
I will reach out to the organization and find out how to do that.
Great, thanks. Thank you. We will now hear a report from Chief Counsel Jessica Blanian.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start out by reporting on some litigation. It's a pretty technical case, but there was a case in the 2nd District Court of Appeal, Jessica M. versus the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations and Board of Parole hearings. And that case challenged how the youth offender laws in Penal Code Section 3051 were implemented. As I said, it's a pretty technical legal argument, but there was a question on whether or not Proposition 83 made substantive changes to Penal Code Section 667.6, subdivision C and D, which would have then required that the youth offender laws be passed by a 2/3 vote instead of a simple majority. And after reviewing all of the legislative materials and case law, the court determined that the laws were properly passed and youth parole was appropriately passed by a majority vote, and that Proposition 83 did not make substantive changes to Penal Code Section 667.6. And so the great news is we get to continue on as we are. I also want to report on legislation that we are continuing to monitor. If any of you have family or friends who work in the legislative industry, you know right now is kind of a panic time. Last week was a deadline where any proposed bills had to pass out of the House of Origin into the other house. And so we did have some of the bills that we were following not pass, and so those will not move forward. But some that we're continuing to monitor is AB 2727, which would change the elderly parole formula from 50 years of age and 20 years of incarceration to 60 years of age and 25 years of incarceration for most people. But then for people convicted of certain sex offenses, the elderly parole formula would be 65 years of age and 25 years of incarceration. Another bill that would impact elderly parole is SB 356. And again, it's changing the formula to 60 and 25. So we're watching that one. And then finally, SB 1446, we are watching. It would make changes to the Welfare and Institutions Code to allow for indeterminately sentenced people to be screened for possible sexually violent predator proceedings. And it also would make changes to the board's en banc process. It would first set a standard of review for en banc cases, so we would move away from the standard that's in case law and instead use the standard in the Penal Code. And it would also require disclosure of closed session votes after our en banc process. So I will update you as we move forward with legislation. Obviously, if any of these pass, we will have training on the impacts to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blindman. We'll now hear a report from Chief Psychologist of the Forensic Assessment Division, Dr. Tarani.
Good morning, commissioners, board staff, and members of the public. I wanted to share a few outreach and training updates from this past month. It's been an especially busy and productive period on our training front. We're very grateful to the Department of State Hospitals for generously including the Forensic Assessment Division in its annual sex offender training series. Our FAD evaluators and supervisors, myself included, attended several presentations covering a wide range of forensic and treatment-related topics. We heard presentations on sex offender treatment for persons who are on parole and probation, as well as the sex offender treatment available to those individuals who have been deemed to be sexually violent predators and are at the Department of State Hospital's Coalinga facility. The presentation that I was perhaps most excited about to hear was from Dr. Forgive me, he's an attorney, Christopher Slobogan on the legal and ethical regulations of risk algorithms, which has been a topic that I've been closely tracking for the last 25 years, as well as Dr. Srinivasan, whom you're maybe familiar with. She's been one of our subject matter experts here at the board. Dr. Srinivasan and Dr. Melinda DeCero from Department of State Hospitals presented on unmasking hidden bias in forensic evaluation. This is a topic that we routinely ask for outside presenters to meet with our evaluators and discuss implicit, explicit bias. Lastly, on the training front, our FAD evaluators attended a presentation on conducting forensic evaluations of persons who are members of the deaf community, and this was presented by Dr. Professor David M. Feldman, who is a professor of psychology at Nova Southeastern University. To say that he's a subject matter expert on this really important topic is a gross understatement. He is a subject matter expert in this field. He also has members of his family who are part of the deaf community, and he's very open about that. So his professional and lived experiences only made his presentation all that much more meaningful and relevant. Please bear with me. As I mentioned, it has been a busy month. On the outreach front, Dr. Feldman had asked me that in exchange for his presentation, he would love for me to present to his forensic graduate student, his students at Nova Southeastern. And so I did a presentation, a virtual presentation for his doctoral students on the science behind risk assessments and the important work of our FAD. And so maybe if we can find some who are really great and willing to move to California down the road, maybe we'll have some future FAD psychologists out of that cohort. Lastly, I promise this is the last thing. On May 9th, I virtually observed a full day of parole suitability hearings for the state of Idaho, including hearings involving individuals who've committed sex offenses. Because I have been asked to provide them with training on assessing, evaluating persons who have committed sex offenses, I thought maybe I should first understand what the baseline is so I can tailor the future training to fit their needs and priorities. I really want to thank Idaho's director, Ms. Christine Starr, for arranging the opportunity to observe and learn more about their processes. By the way, I was very impressed with their commissioners, and so it'll be an advanced level training that I'll be putting forward. These experiences have continued to provide us with meaningful opportunities for our continued professional development, and we very much enjoy collaborating across jurisdictions and disciplines. Please let me know if commissioners, if you have any additional questions or any questions related to the training and outreach front. Okay, with that,
Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner Barton.
All right, we will now hear a report from the Chief of the Office of Victims and Survivor Rights and Services, Miriam Manshawi. There she is.
Good morning, commissioners and members of the public. I have a few programmatic updates, but I first wanted to start off by thanking those who took time to attend any of the many National Crime Victims' Rights Week that were happening around our region and our state last month. I especially want to thank those who attended the OVSRS statewide hybrid event that took place at McGeorge School of Law. I wanted to thank every attendee, participant, and stakeholder who helped make this event a reality. We were honored to have representatives from many DA offices across California. We also had nonprofit organization representatives. The governor's office had representation, and we also had a host of statewide victim service agencies come together. And we discussed the state of victim services and rights in California, and really focused on how we can work collectively to ensure that victims don't fall through the gaps as they navigate through our criminal legal system. I also wanted to give a special thanks to BPH Chief Counsel Jessica Blanian and her team. They did an amazing training for the OVSRS team this month on legal issues pertaining to parole hearings. Their training was very thorough and engaging, and the OVSRS team really benefited from the information. I wanted to update everybody as to the status of our phone line. We are still diligently working on launching the new phone system and also the BPH reservation portal. We're excited because the phone line offers a lot of additional options that will help be more responsive to the needs of victims and service providers. However, until the phone system launches and the portal launches, we are reminding everybody to please leave a voice message if they call our hotline, and our staff are responding to those messages same day. People can also reach out to us through our chat function on our website or through our email address, and really appreciate everybody's patience during this time. I have a few outreach updates. The OVSRS team has been very active in the community over the past few weeks. We participated in the Day of Healing at the Mule Creek State Prison. We also tabled at the LA and Orange County Superhero Run. We participated at the Yolo County Spring Fling Celebration in West Sacramento and Winters. And we also tabled at the Recharge Community Resource Sharing event hosted by the Northern American Mental Health Services in Fairfield. The OVSRS restitution team participated in re-entry resource fairs in both Santa Clara and San Luis Obispo counties. And one of our restorative justice team members attended the Prosecutors Alliance Restorative Justice Conference at UC Berkeley. We also presented to the Ventura Training Center to previously incarcerated people on restitution and how we can provide support with restitution collection process. Two of our staff members attended the NOVA 40-hour entry victim advocacy training, and they received their victim advocate certification. It's the second set of folks that we were able to send to this trainings, and we will be sending another staff member in June. So we're really excited about getting all of our staff members trained to become certified victim advocates. And finally, two of our restorative justice staff members presented this past weekend at Folsom State Prison on our accountability letter bank to a class of incarcerated students. Those are all the updates that I have. Thank you very much for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Ms. Elman-Shawi. All right, we're now going to move to discussion items, specifically item number 9 on the agenda. This item concerns proposed regulations regarding consultations and commutation and recall of sentence recommendation assessment presented by Executive Officer Scott Wyckoff and Chief Counsel Jessica Blonian.
Good morning again, Commissioners and members of the public. Before beginning the presentation, I want to direct some comments to the members of the audience today and the people who are watching online who might not be familiar with these proposed regulations. These regulations will create a process for BPH to make recommendations to the governor to commute a sentence and to a court that a person should be resentenced. We have created this process because the law enacted by the legislature grants us the specific authority to make these recommendations. As you will see, we have created a process that may look familiar to anyone who has participated in the parole process. We did that with intention. Our parole suitability process results in some of the lowest recidivism rates in the nation. With almost 10 years of data, 97% of the people released by the board return to our communities and are not convicted of a new misdemeanor or felony. 97%. Now, some might have noticed that today we will be taking public comments on commutation referrals from the governor and may be asking, what's the difference between the process used by the governor and BPH's process? So there are two significant differences that we think are important. First, victims and district attorneys will have the opportunity to participate in the hearing process. This, we believe, will create greater transparency in how these recommendations are made. Second, the people who will ultimately make decisions on whether to commute or resentence someone will have the benefit of the board's assessment of whether the individual currently poses a risk to public safety. Neither exists in the current framework. Finally, I want to briefly mention the process we used to get here. The board received written comments from more than 300 individuals and organizations. We also held a public hearing where more than 70 people attended and offered feedback. And these comments resulted in some changes to our original proposal. So in conclusion, we believe that this regulation package creates a process that the law allows. It was done with the benefit of substantial public input, and in the end, it will create a transparent process with an emphasis on public safety while recognizing that with hard work, people can and do change. And with that, I will turn this over to Chief Counsel Blonian.
All right, before I begin my presentation, I just wanted to, as an initial point, let everybody know that we have a number of documents available on our website and also here at the front of the room. First, we have the text, the amended text of the regulations available. We have a summary of the comments that were received during the public comment period, also from the public hearing and the renotice public comment period with our responses and information in response to those comments. We also drafted a frequently asked question sheet with responses to the most common questions that we've encountered. And finally, we did a flow chart to help kind of explain the process. It can be a little complicated as you're reading the text of the regulations to follow. So we hope that helps. And then finally, I'm going to give a brief PowerPoint right now that just gives a broad overview of the process. I'm not going into every detail of the regulations, or we'd be here for a really long time, but those details are contained within the text of the amended regulations. I want to thank my staff who have diligently worked on this package and the accompanying documents. It's been a real Herculean task. So thank you to Tracy Young, Chris Haift, and Nina Choi so much for all of your insights, your support, and your hard work. And then finally, I just wanted to note that in addition to the commutation and resentence process, these regulations do also go through the consultation process. And I'm not going to cover that because it's really just putting into regulations what we're already doing. We're not making any changes to the consultation process. We are just finally getting the regulations done. So now hopefully I can really share my screen. Or not.
We lose our IT.
I know I can do it a different way. I just give you 1 second.
Hope something worked.
Oh. All right. So I have my speaker off. As long as we're not getting feedback, I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm just showing the flow chart at the beginning because there are 2 ways that a person can enter the commutation and resentencing process. The first is through a consultation. We had the experience where we would have...
We have an echo. Well, she has a double mic. The mic in front of you is on, right?
I just turned it off.
But I think we need that for the public to hear.
I just exited out of the meeting to stop the echo.
We can hear without an echo now.
So you want to move this?
It is muted. Fingers crossed this will work.
Commissioner Garland said she could hear you through the computer mic.
I know I exited the meeting,
Oh,
so then I wasn't sharing.
still hearing it. Thank you for everyone's continued patience as we work through these technology issues. Stand by.
Try speaking.
Test.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Sorry, everyone, for the difficulties, but I did want to show there are two ways people can enter into the commutation and sentence assessment process. The first is through a consultation. We were having an experience where our hearing officers were going out, meeting with incarcerated people, and every once in a while they would come across someone who was really extraordinary. They had been doing work for a long time to really rehabilitate. And our hearing officers would come back and say, wow, that person's doing really well. They could succeed in a hearing right now. And so we wanted to allow a process for those people to come in for consideration before the 6 years for their parole hearing. And so this is through the consultation process. If a hearing officer finds the person has a reasonable likelihood to receive a recommendation for sentence or commutation, they will go directly to a CNR hearing and start the pre-hearing process. We are obviously keeping our normal process where other people will go in for a consultation. They'll meet with a hearing officer, they'll learn about the parole hearing process and receive recommendations, and then they will go to a parole hearing. So those people will continue on their path. The other way people will come in for a commutation and recall of sentence process is through an eligibility screen where case records at CDCR will look at the person to determine if they're eligible, and then also set a CRED or commutation and recall eligibility date. We just love our acronyms. And then once that is done, the person will come in for a review where, again, they will meet with a hearing officer to discuss the process, to discuss their progress, what they've been doing, any programming, anything like that. And then also they can receive recommendations. At that review, the hearing officer will make a determination on whether or not the person is likely to receive a recommendation for recall and resentence. If they are, they will go for a pre-hearing process and to a hearing ultimately, hopefully. If they do not yet reach that standard and it's found that they're unlikely to receive a recommendation for resentence and commutation, the person will receive a new CNR review after 3 years. So they'll have 3 years to go and program, to make changes, and then they'll come back into the process. For those people who go forward to the pre-hearing process, it is at that stage the Office of Victim and Survivor Rights and Services will go forward and make reasonable efforts to try to locate victims. And we are mindful that some of these victims and victim family members thought these people would never be considered for possible release and maybe didn't register. And so Office of Victim and Survivor Rights and Services will be doing some outreach. At this point, the person will also receive a comprehensive risk assessment by our Forensic Assessment Division. They will be doing really the same thing that they do for our parole hearing, and will make a rating on whether the person is a high risk, a moderate, and it can be a high moderate, low moderate, medium moderate, or a low risk. If that person receives a high risk CRA, or if they're found guilty of a serious rule violation report in between the time of the review and the hearing, their hearing will be canceled. And for people whose hearing is canceled, they will wait 3 years and then come back in for a new CNR review. For people who have a low or moderate, one of the 3 moderate CRAs, they will then continue on to the CNR hearing, which again is fashioned after our parole consideration hearing. They will be appointed an attorney. The district attorney will be given notice of the hearing and have an opportunity to review non-confidential documents. Victims, victim family members, victim next of kin will have an opportunity to attend a hearing and, as appropriate, to appoint representatives or support people. And the hearing will be held where our hearing officers will consider all relevant and reliable information to determine whether or not the person poses a current and reasonable risk of danger to the public. If the determination is that they still do pose a current and reasonable risk, They will go back to a CNR review after 3 years. If it is found that the person does not pose a current unreasonable risk, there will be a review period by legal of 120 days. And if the decision is upheld, a recommendation will be made to the sentencing court and the governor's office. Once that recommendation is made, the person is out of the commutation and resentencing process. We will not follow up with them, and it is really up to the governor and the sentencing court whether they want to take action and what action they will take. I think fortunately, and maybe unfortunately, we don't control those other entities, and so our part of the process is done. So I hope that the flow chart really kind of helped lay out the process. As Scott said, we've received numerous comments and have really taken those to heart. So I want to thank all the members of the public and our stakeholders who provided comments on this process and the proposed regulations.
And the board thanks you both and obviously your staff for all of their hard work as well. At this time, any member of the public may comment on the proposed regulations. Please note comments made at the executive board meeting are not part of the official process of the Administrative Procedures Act and will not be submitted to the Office of Administrative Law because we've, as stated, already had 3 open public comment opportunities on the regulations. We also have allowed comments in writing. We've received more of those and reviewed those as well. These statements are limited to 1 minute for that reason because people could have already done so on multiple occasions. And please wait until we call your name or identify you by your login information to speak. Moderator, I have 4 public comment cards, but I don't know if every one of them is commenting on this issue or some other issues. So do you have any other persons registered to comment?
I do have one person. This person is Susan Bustamante. Your microphone has been enabled. Please go ahead and unmute yourself by dialing *6, and you may begin your 1-minute comment. Susan, I do see you have unmuted yourself. I do see that you have unmuted yourself, but we cannot hear you. Oh, yes.
My name is Susan Bustamante, and I was a former LWOP, life without the possibility of parole, and I did serve over 25 years. I have been out almost 7 years now, almost 8 years, and I am in favor of this regulations, and I'm very grateful that we're finally at this junction for the regulations to help more people come out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, do you have anyone else listed?
Chairperson, I do not have any more speakers registered to speak on this.
I'm going to just ask Ms. Paratori, you're here in person. Were you speaking on this? Okay. Same for Ms. Denise Nelson-Sloan.
Can I do both?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You get 1 minute now and 2 minutes later.
Denise Nelson-Sloan from Life Support Alliance. We're very much in favor of this. We think it's a long time coming. It's an important first step, and I hope it won't be the last step. And we would like to offer our assistance in any way we can to help educate the public on this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lasky, same offer? You're not speaking on this issue? Okay. And then I have a Mervyn, I can't read the writing. Roskins? I'm sorry, you're not speaking on this one. Okay. All right. Then I believe that's all of our speakers on this issue. Is that correct, moderator?
Correct.
Okay. Does any member of the board have any additional questions or comments regarding the proposed regulations? I don't hear any. And the executive officer, chief counsel, any further comments?
No.
All right, then. Thank you. At this time, I will ask for a motion regarding the proposed regulations.
I make a motion to adopt the proposed regulations in rulemaking action BPH RN 25-01 as appropriate implementation of the board's discretion under Penal Code Section 4801 and 1172.1. The board directs staff to take all necessary steps to complete the rulemaking process and authorizes the executive officer to make any necessary non-substantive changes to the proposed regulations.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Do I have a second?
Garland will second.
All right, we have a second by Commissioner Garland. I will now call the roll for the vote, starting with Commissioner Cassidy.
Aye.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Aye.
Commissioner Garland.
Aye.
Commissioner Infante.
Aye.
Commissioner Kozel.
Aye.
Commissioner Long.
Aye.
Commissioner Minor.
Aye.
Commissioner Muniz.
Aye.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Meara.
Aye.
Commissioner Ruff.
Aye.
Commissioner Sergeant Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Schneider.
Aye.
Commissioner Sharif.
Aye.
Commissioner Sheffield, if you've joined us. Okay, we know she had some personal matters to attend to. She may not be joining us. Commissioner Tyra.
Nay.
Commissioner Thornton.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
And chairperson votes aye, motion carries. Does any board member wish to request an agenda item for a future meeting? I don't hear any. Now we will get to the normal public comments. And we will hear comments from the public regarding general matters related to the board. Again, specifying for those online, these are not yet comments on specific cases for today. These are just general comments. You must be on the speaker list to make a comment. You can be added to the speaker list by calling 916-267-0857. That's 916-267-0857, and providing your information and the case or item you would like to speak on. Comments concerning future parole hearings are not permitted during this meeting. Please send those comments to the board for inclusion in the materials for that future hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes and there is no opportunity for rebuttal. Please wait to speak until we call your name or identify you by your login information. Moderator, do you have anyone seeking to make general comment related to the board? And I do have the 4 cards that I previously mentioned.
Yes, in addition to those 4 cards, I have some other that look like they are all in person. I do not have anybody virtually signed up to speak.
Okay. All right, then in no particular order, I'm going to call the cards that I have, starting with Ms. Lasky.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Wyckoff gave an excellent description of the APA conference, which I also attended. I don't have anything to add regarding my attendance to the sessions. However, during the event, I did conduct an informal poll of representatives from most of the other states and countries in attendance. Most of you were here for my public comment last month that CDCR needs to develop formal sex offender treatment programs. I inquired of the representatives from other states and countries if 1, they offered such a program, 2, if the program was required for sex offenders before parole, and 3, if they had any increased security concerns for the inmates participating in the program, because that is an oft-cited reason for why we do not offer it. Every representative I spoke to from at least 9 different states and countries gave the same answers. Yes, they had a program, a formal program. Yes, the program was required for sex offenders before parole. In fact, 8 of those 9 required them to have completed the program satisfactorily before they even received a hearing. They could not be still engaged in or on a waiting list. And finally, no, they did not have any increased security concerns for the inmates participating in the program. There were no increased assaults against those inmates. Texas is the only state in the United States that has a higher prison population than California, both in actual numbers and per capita. The representative from Texas, who I actually sat with for all of the large group meetings, I sat at their table for the entire 3 days. They were all shocked and repeatedly asked me, really? When I told them that California did not have such a program. This oversight is unacceptable and it needs to be remedied. We are releasing inmates who are unprepared for parole because they have not been given the proper training, setting them up to fail in the worst possible way by making new victims of heinous crimes, merely because we don't want to spend the money to treat them. This is unacceptable and must be remedied. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Paratori.
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to share a few observations and concerns. I continue to be disturbed by the board's misapplication of elderly parole. I really appreciate the trainings that the board has received about the impact of age on people in the parole process. However, I fear those trainings have yet to be internalized. I continue to experience clients in their 60s and 70s being denied parole because they cannot talk well enough, despite excellent disciplinary records, extensive programming, and concrete parole plans. Sometimes I think it's easier for a younger parole candidate who can learn how to speak in a way that the board wants to hear to get a grant than an elderly parole candidate whose age and medical conditions alone make them an infinitesimal violence risk. I recently had a 69-year-old client with serious health issues denied parole for 5 years because the panel felt his answers were lacking, despite the fact that he'd not received an RVR in 40 years. In my opinion, that decision is egregious, and he might not be alive to have another hearing. The structured decision-making framework should theoretically fix this. It hasn't. Over and over again, I see huge variation in how panels determine what constitutes aggravating, mitigating, and neutral. There's simply no consistency across the board. From my perspective, part of the problem is commissioners substituting their own judgment with that of trained professionals. Again, I see this over and over again, whether it's about interpreting medical diagnoses, substance abuse records, or mental health treatment. Just last week, we encountered a commissioner who claimed that in her opinion, the client did not have cognitive decline, despite a letter from his client's doctor saying the client does, in fact, show symptoms of dementia. I know what I am, and I know what I'm not. When an expert or a professional with more training and expertise tell me something, I listen. That matters, and the board needs to do better to internalize opinions.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you.
She has concluded. All right, we will next go to Vanessa Nelson Sloan.
Good morning again. The Life Support Alliance has made several advancements and additions to the self-help groups we're conducting and fostering throughout the correctional system. I'd like to bring you up to date on those. We're still running 6 programs in 5 institutions weekly, 2 at Solano, groups at CMF, FSP, SAT, and San Quentin. In addition, we have trained peer facilitators to provide a class in connecting the dots curriculum at PVSP, which explores ACE events and how those events impact criminal thinking and actions. This group runs 2 sessions weekly and is the largest in the institution. These photos are of their last graduation. There were 99 graduates. It is the hit of the institution, including with the staff. At San Quentin, we are fortunate enough to have several Spanish speakers who have completed 2 sessions of RISE as well as facilitator training. They are conducted 2 classes of RISE in Spanish concurrent with the regular RISE group. The main RISE group meets on Saturday evening. The Spanish group scheduling on Sunday using the RISE curriculum has been translated into Spanish. For the first time, it's the first time for many that they've had the opportunity to do a class in their own native language. Our victim impact class, Community Healing Through Amends, is also being translated into Spanish, and a treatise on the CRA process, Understanding Your CRA, has been translated both into Spanish and Vietnamese. Working to get several other coursework books and treatises on various subjects available in Spanish. I feel a bit like the UN of parole. We know for certain we're changing the prison culture. The wristbands that we present to those graduates have become quite a badge of honor on the inside, to the point that some graduates have reported to us that their wristbands have been purloined when left unattended. We invite you again to attend any of our classes. Thank you, and I would like to pass these around if we can. I'll just give them that.
Thank you. All right, we have additional public comments. Mr. Brookings.
Good afternoon, board and executive members of the board. In 2009, Thanksgiving Day, I was paroled from Folsom. And every year since then, I've tried to make it a habit to come back at least once a year to this panel to show you what we look like on the other side. And again, to honor my word to Commissioners Garner and Deputy Commissioners Nina Starr. When I received my date, I asked them to raise their hand for me and give me an opportunity to come back and serve my community. And I always wanted to come back and make sure that they knew I've kept my word during the time that I've been home, about 15 years now. You guys, I don't envy your job because I know it's challenging, but as Mr. Wyckoff stated, 97% of us are successful, 97%. And I know that 97% isn't coming back and letting you guys know how much they appreciate that opportunity. So I think I can honestly speak on behalf of them. Right now, I have an organization called Brother to Brother Mentoring. We're the lead organization in Sacramento for intervention and prevention work. And one of the hardest things about what we do is similar to what you do. When we're successful, nothing happens. When we're able to prevent gang violence or retaliation shooting, nobody knows about it. So it's hard to talk about our success or celebrate our success because nothing happens. And it's the same principle with you guys. When you're successful, nobody says anything. So today I'm here to say thank you. And I'm an example of the decision making that you guys are doing. And a lot of us, even though not everyone's able to come back and say thank you, please know and believe that your work is greatly appreciated, and keep doing what you're doing because we support you.
Thank you, Mr. Brookings. All right, the next card I have is Mr. Buckley.
Hello, Commissioners. My second time here. I really would just like to say I appreciate you guys. You guys are doing an excellent job despite what you might hear in the media, and tell you that as the previous gentleman just came up here and said, you guys' work really does matter, and what you guys believing in us, giving us that second chance, there's so much more we can offer to society. You know, since I've been home, I've been in the Capitol quite often. Me and a couple of other gentlemen here, just last month on April 30th, were recognized on the Assembly floor for being given that second chance. Until this day, I'm still continuously going back into the Capitol, advocating for change, working with different organizations, just so I can be able to give back to my community and make amends for what I've done. Commissioner Barton, I appreciate my first suitability hearing, you denied me, and at first I was upset, but after I went back and had to take an honest reflection on myself, one of the key things you noted was there's something going on within you that you need to challenge, that you need to figure out why did you make the choice that you made. And one of the things I plan on speaking to members in the Capitol is that, you know, the board doesn't just make a decision about you not committing any more crimes. They make it based on, are you living an antisocial life? So I'd just like to encourage you guys to continue doing that, and thank you for giving these people who are long-term offenders or incarcerated individuals a second chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Ms. Kim, are you going to speak? Okay, so we had another speaker card, but she's electing not to speak. Do you have anyone else, moderator, for public comment?
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for general comments.
All right, and I don't see anyone else in person or have any other cards for general comments. I will now call the roll for the commissioners participating in public comment, deliberations, and voting on the cases for today's agenda. All other commissioners will be excused. Those present for continued service today include myself, chairperson. I'm present. Commissioner Cassidy.
Present.
Commissioner Infante.
Present.
Commissioner Kozel.
Present.
Commissioner Long.
Present.
Commissioner Minor.
Present.
Commissioner Muniz.
Present.
Commissioner Ruff.
Present.
Commissioner Sergeant Burns.
Present.
Commissioner Schneider.
Present.
Commissioner Thornton.
Present.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person. And we'll let the rest be excused. All right. We will now hear comments regarding cases on today's agenda. If you wish to speak today, you must sign up on our speaker list. A speaker card is available on the board's website under the tab Board Meetings and the link Meeting Agendas. Alternately, you can call 916-267-0857, the same number I gave previously, and provide your information in the case you would like to speak on. If the case you want to speak on is already passed, you will have another opportunity to speak once we've gone through all the cases. So at the very end, if we missed you, we always open it up for anyone else who has missed their case. For each case, first we take comments from those in support, then those from those in opposition to the incarcerated person. We will call on people by either the name provided or the last digits of the telephone number that we have. We will enable the person's microphone so they can unmute and provide their comment, and your 2 minutes begin when you start to speak. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. Obviously, anyone who's speaking or even those not speaking can submit comments to us in writing ahead of these board meetings. We strongly encourage that. There is no rebuttal, and if you are speaking, please eliminate any background noise or distractions that may be on your video feed. The first case that we are going to be dealing with is Jeffrey Wright. Public comment is not permitted on this item because this is a tie vote, so I take that back. We won't be hearing comments on it. It is a referral by the governor, by the legal team because there was a tie vote between the two commissioners. So the first case that we'll be taking comments on will be Anthony Hill, V as in Victor 09119, item 13. Moderator, please call for any speakers in support of Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner. The first speaker we have in support is James Menfield. James, if you are with us, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6. We can see you, James. It looks like you're still muted. Try clicking the microphone button in the top next to the leave button. Should unmute you. If you're having trouble, you can try leaving the meeting and rejoining, and we will circle right back to you when you join. Our next speaker is Shatara Thrower. Shatara, if you are on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you are on the phone, unmute yourself by pressing *6.
I see your icon, but I can't hear anyone.
Shatara, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button or by pressing *6 if you're on the phone. Again, Shatara, we cannot hear you. If you want to try leaving the meeting and rejoining, we can circle back. It seems that your unmuting is not working. Move on. Our next speaker is Tony Curtis. Tony, if you're on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Tony Curtis, and I'm appearing today in support of Anthony Hill's application. I'm a pastor in Southern California and involved in workforce development through my company that hires ex-offenders. I've witnessed Anthony's genuine transformation, his commitment to rehabilitation, and his readiness to re-enter society as a productive and responsible citizen. I know that the board's responsibility is to determine whether Anthony's going to continue to pose an unreasonable risk to the public, and I respectfully submit that he does not. His character has evolved significantly through rigorous programming and profound self-reflection. The strongest evidence of Anthony's rehabilitation is his dedication to the OCMP program, which is the Offender Counseling and Mentorship Program. He is now a certified drug counselor, mentoring other incarcerated individuals inside. Completing this program wasn't just a requirement for him, it was a catalyst for his change. Anthony is now demonstrating a commitment to service and personal responsibility that goes, in my opinion, far beyond mere compliance with rules. I see this as him making amends with his past wrongs and helping to end crime overall. Anthony has developed the emotional intelligence and the practical skills that I see as necessary to navigate life on the outside. His education and long-term treatment indicates that he will be successful in his reentry. He is prepared to handle the stressors of daily life without reverting back to past patterns. And this goes to the point made by Scott earlier about reduced recidivism. I believe Anthony's case is an example of the programs that CDCR has
Your 2
implemented
minutes have elapsed.
to
Please conclude
reduce
your statement.
recidivism working the way they should, and making this recommendation for Anthony would align with that. And I feel he's deserving. And so I would ask that you would make a recommendation to the governor in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll circle back
Next
and try
speaker.
James Menfield again. James, it looked like you rejoined us. If you're able to unmute yourself, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. It looks like you're still muted. There should be a button that looks like a microphone if you're on Teams at the very top where you can turn on your camera, you can turn it off. If you click that button, the mic, it says MIC for mic. It's right next to the button where you can leave. We can't hear you. I believe you're still muted. If you'd like to try and call in on your phone, we can try that. In the meantime, we'll move on to Shatara Thrower. Shatara, I
Good
believe
morning. Good morning. Can you
we
all
can hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners and members of the board. My name is Shatara, and I just want to speak from a place only a sister can. I'm Anthony Hill's sister. And I just wanted to share this from a place with someone who has watched his life unfold from the beginnings through the hardest chapters and into the version of manhood I never imagined possible for him. My brother and I were born into poverty, trauma, and that felt normal because all we knew. That's all we knew. But with him being 10 years older, he carried more of the weight and responsibility of that traumatic experience. He was pushed into adulthood long before he had matured or support to survive it. So by the age of 15, he was fending for himself, recently survived cancer, navigating addiction, and pulled into a lifestyle, that was idolized in the environment that was around us. It wasn't who he wanted to be, but it is all he had ever seen. When he first went away, he wanted to come home quickly. But as his sister, I knew he wasn't ready. And I had to tell him that. And it hurt me to say it. And I saw the hurt on his pain in his face when I sat on the other side of the wall and said, brother, you're not ready yet. But I had to tell him the truth. He didn't yet understand accountability. He still blamed others. He didn't see his own patterns. His spirit wasn't aligned with change yet. But something shortly after that shifted. Long before any laws changed or any hope of release existed, and I watched him let go of the hustle, the manipulation, the excuses, the ego. He made a decision to live differently even when he believed he might never leave prison. And that choice came from inside of him, not from circumstances. So today, he's a man of discipline, humility, and patience and self-respect. No substances, no gang
2 minutes have
ties.
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that the man he is now is not the man that I witnessed a change, and I would ask that he be considered for commutation and the justice is served as his continued incarceration.
We will circle back one more time with James Menfield. I believe James joined via phone.
Yes, can the commissioners hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. My name is James Frederick Menfield, and I'm here to speak in support of Anthony Hill's commutation request. I was at 18 years old, I was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 50 years to life in state prison. On February 11, 2025, Commissioner Long and Deputy Commissioner Lamb found me suitable for parole, and I was released on June 18, 2025. Since my release, I've worked hard every single day to honor the trust that the board has placed in me. I've started my own paralegal business, and I've just now completed my second semester at Cal State LA with straight A's, so my current GPA is 4.0. I share this information because the foundation for my success began with what Anthony Hill taught me years ago. And I want to be clear, I take full responsibility for the harm I've caused. My transformation is my responsibility. But Mr. Hill played a critical role in helping me understand the underlying causes of my criminal behavior, causes that I had never been able to name, let alone address. When I met Anthony, I was still operating from trauma, shame, distorted beliefs about manhood and violence. I survived instability, abuse, the California Youth Authority, but I had never learned how to process any of it. And my thinking errors were deep, automatic, and they were unexamined. But Anthony was the first person who helped me slow down and actually look at myself. He taught me how to identify the beliefs driving my reactions. He taught me how to separate fear from identity. He taught me how to reflect before acting. And he taught me that accountability is not self-hatred, it's honesty and growth. And these skills have become the blueprint for my rehabilitation. They are the same skills that I use today to abide by the conditions of my parole, build my business, continue working in the community to be part of the solution and not the problem, and to even stay grounded as I held my mother's hand as she died 4 months ago, as well as other life stressors.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
So I want to emphasize something important. Anthony practices what he teaches, and he's not the same person who entered prison decades ago. And I just want you to take that into consideration. And I respectfully state that Anthony's continued incarceration no longer serves the interest of justice, and that he should be given the same opportunity that I've been given. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Anthony Hill.
All right, moderator, now we'll take speakers in opposition to Anthony Hill.
Chairperson, there are no speakers in opposition to Anthony Hill.
All right, the next case is Kenny Lee, P 78435, item 14. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
The first speaker is Catherine Tinto. Catherine, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button if you're on Teams, or by pressing *6 if you're on the microphone on the telephone.
Good morning, commissioners. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. I'm speaking on behalf of Kenny Lee. I'm a law professor at UC Irvine Law School. I'm also a faculty member at the UC Irvine Lifted program, which is a bachelor degree program currently at Donovan. Kenny Lee was my student in the winter 2025 quarter, and I also submitted a written letter to the board on his behalf. He was an excellent student, hard worker, thoughtful, polite, and respectful of everyone's opinions, listened well to others. And it was apparent through his comments throughout the class that he has undergone decades of hard work, of personal reflection, and personal growth. He's moved so far and has a deep understanding of the poor decision-making of his youth, and has really transformed to give so much back, both to, I know, the community if he were released, but also during his time in prison has really helped the lifer community and has done a lot of work to make sure that folks take responsibility for their actions, which Kenny Lee certainly has. So I highly support the grant of commutation for Mr. Lee and would support him in his further endeavors, both professionally and in his education if released. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Gomez. Jennifer, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jennifer Gomez, and I'm the Assistant Director of the UC Irvine Lifted program. Lifted is the first bachelor's degree granting program for currently incarcerated students in the University of California system, and I have been with the program since it began in 2022. Over the past 4 years, I have worked with more than 130 students from the application process through graduation and into their continued journey as UC alumni. Mr. Lee is one of those exceptional students. He is scheduled to graduate from UC Irvine on June 17th with a 3.863 GPA, earning a degree in sociology with a minor in English. Mr. Lee has been a true pleasure to work with. He is deeply invested in his education and his own rehabilitation. He is not only a PLMP mentor, a highly sought after position, but also a role model to his peers. He is well respected by his professors, our staff, and his colleagues. His professors have shared how strongly he engages with materials and how he consistently offers thoughtful insights in class. Our program offers not only rigorous UC-level coursework, but also writing support, tutoring, alumni research opportunities, workshops on transfer, and others. Mr. Lee has participated fully and consistently, so long as his schedule allows. He takes advantage of every opportunity available to him because he genuinely values the chance to grow. What stands out most about Mr. Lee is his attitude. He is calm, positive, and respectful, even when faced with challenges. I witnessed this firsthand last summer when scheduling conflicts arose between course offerings and work assignments. Rather than becoming frustrated, Mr. Lee remained patient, worked with our team, and trusted the process. He handled the situation with maturity and grace. Mr. Lee is the kind of person who sees the good in situations, works well with others, and remains focused on his future. I strongly encourage you to consider his commutation. Not only do I believe Mr. Lee would remain crime-free if released,
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
But I am confident that he will give back to community and make it better. The mentoring work he does, along with his training as a sociologist, gives him a strong foundation for community work, advocacy, research,
Thank you. Please complete your comment.
justice, and rehabilitation. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Kenny Lee.
All right, moderator, are there any speakers in opposition?
Our first speaker is Michael Milano. Michael, if you are on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you are on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Deputy District Attorney Michael Milano on behalf of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. After reviewing Mr. Lee's file and the information in our possession, it's our position that the sentence that was afforded Mr. Lee was appropriate given the offense's severity and the circumstances involved in his life crime. It's our position that he has not demonstrated any compelling reasons for a commutation at this point in time. Thank you very much for your time.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Kenny Lee.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Diem Nguyen, J54675, item 15. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
People who signed up to speak in support For Lai Nguyen, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button or press *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. Our first speaker, there are no speakers in support of Lai Nguyen.
All right, moderator, are there any speakers in opposition to Lai Nguyen?
Our first speaker is Tasha Sarouche.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Inmate Nguyen has multiple convictions, with the primary being the murder of Kathy Bowie. The jury found 2 special allegations qualifying him for the death penalty, but for which he leniently received life without parole. He also has a prior felony strike conviction. The inmate has repeatedly filed petitions in court through 2023 claiming he is not guilty of murder, only to be repeatedly denied and told he is the actual killer and is not entitled to relief. To falsely claim under penalty of perjury that he's not guilty of murder indicates a lack of responsibility and continued criminal thinking for this truly horrific death. Kathy and her husband Henry had been nothing but kind to the inmate, lending him money and helping them when they could. Except it wasn't enough. And when he needed more, he broke in the middle of the night and strangled Kathy to rob her. It was not impulsive. It was not over an argument as he falsely characterizes. He broke in, strangled her, and robbed her. The board was educated at a prior executive training how men who strangle women are the most dangerous men. The inmate lied to police, to evaluating psychologists, and to the court, just as he did through 2023 and with his recent 2024 application for clemency. He has a history of domestic violence and violating restraining order. Her husband, Henry, and other victim next of kin in this case are horrified that this inmate may be let out, especially after continuous false claims about what he truly did. The board should recognize this inmate's past, his repeated false attempts under penalty of perjury before courts, and the governor to manipulate a more lenient sentence. Again, we ask you to deny recommending commutation. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Lai Nguyen.
Moderator, thank you. The next case is Kenneth Smith, AK 1589, item 16. Moderator, please call for speakers in support of Kenneth Smith.
People who signed up to speak in support of Kenneth Smith, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button or press *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. The first speaker is Tyson Atlas. Tyson, if you're on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you are, it looks like you're in person.
Hi, my name is Tyson Atlas. Mr. Wyckoff stated earlier that people can and do change. And I met Kenneth Smith when I was 25 years of age. We were both serving life without the possibility of parole. And he taught me what change starts with, and that was accountability. Mr. Smith is someone who did not shy away from being accountable and responsible for his decisions or his actions. And he would often challenge us on the yard at Lancaster State Prison to really look at who we were and to look at who we were currently at the time, in the past, and who we wanted to be in the future. And that became something that just permeated throughout the culture at Lancaster. And I always like to credit him with that because it was easy to get caught up in this battle with the district attorney or the board process or, the circumstances around an offense. But Mr. Smith always challenged us to look at ourselves, and I believe that that was the catalyst that allowed him to even be before you guys today, to really reflect the possibilities of what it looks like to change and to be a different version of yourself when looking at the context that brings us to our state of incarceration. And so I wanted to come today and speak on behalf of him in regards to just his person, but also to say that if he is given an opportunity to be commuted and then go to board and come home, I'll be there when he get out and help him navigate that process as well. And I just hope you guys could take into the consideration exactly what Mr. Wyckoff made the important point to state earlier, is that we do and we can change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I do have another card on this case in person, Mr. Burnett.
Good morning. First, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come in here today and speak on behalf of Mr. Smith. My name is Alan Burnett. I'm the co-founder and executive director of the Prism Way, a nonprofit organization based in Los Angeles. I'm also formerly incarcerated. I was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. I served 28 years. My sentence was commuted in 2019. In 2020, I appeared before this this particular board hearing was found suitable at my initial hearing. Kenny Smith is someone I hold near and dear to my heart. He lived 4 cells down to me while we were at CSP Los Angeles County. I have watched Kenny Smith, he's 12 years younger than me, navigate the sentence of life without the possibility of parole and choose to go into rehabilitation with all his heart and his soul. Kenny Smith has always been, in my opinion, a staple to every community that he's been involved in with regards to rehabilitation. Kenny Smith, as Mr. Atlas had mentioned earlier, is dedicated to accountability, living amends, taking full responsibility for the harm that he caused. Kenny Smith is a person who I credit to majority of my transformation because he would often spend time with me and work on my insight and my personal development. If in the event that you decide that Kenny Smith is worthy of a second chance and opportunity, then I will be here to welcome Kenny Smith with open arms, give him employment, as well as give him workforce development and provide everything that he needs in order to be successful. As Mr. Wyckoff had mentioned earlier, I am part of that 97%, and I will make sure that Kenny Smith is also a part of that percent as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our
Those are
next
all the
speaker.
cards that.
Our
Okay,
next
that's all the
speaker.
cards I.
Thank you, Chairperson. Our next speaker is Billy Goins. Billy, if you're on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Billy Goins, and I am the proud mother of Kenneth Ray Smith. I have watched my son grow from the little boy I birthed into a man with ambition, integrity, and goals. Today, I am overjoyed, not only for my son Kenneth's accomplishments, but for you to recognize his consistent hard work and determination. I've seen a tremendous change in my son from back then to now. Today, he consoles me, he gives me advice, he makes me laugh, he's loving, and he truly cares about others. Kenneth has dedicated himself into educating and mentoring incarcerated individuals. He wants to continue helping others in a positive way, and his family will provide whatever assistance he needs. As his mother, I can assure you, Kenneth will have a strong support system. He will have several job opportunities through my resources, my contacts, and my business partners. Kenneth will have transportation in several places to reside, including my home, his godmother's home, or his own, his choice. I'm a business owner for over 20 years, a California notary public for 30 years, and I've been successfully working in the real estate industry for over 35 years. I've been saving and investing, praying for this day to come. I have more than enough to support Kenneth on his journey. Please listen to my heart today. I am simply asking that Kenneth be given the opportunity to continue proving the man he has become. I truly believe he will make a positive impact on the world and on the lives of others. I have never wanted something so meaningful in my life, and that is to cook a meal for my son, to sit down at our dinner table, pray, and thank the Lord for the day he
Your
has
time has
made.
elapsed. Please
With
conclude your statement.
consideration is truly possible. Please allow Kenneth Smith another chance outside the gates. Thank you for this opportunity and bless you.
Thank
Our
you.
next speaker is Irma Vargas. Irma, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. You're up.
Hi, good morning. My name is Irma Vargas. I'm with the University of Southern California's Law School Post-Conviction Project, Justice Project. We represent and we strongly support Kenneth Smith. Mr. Smith is serving a life without parole sentence for a crime committed when he was 22 years old. He fully accepts responsibility for the harm he caused. This request is not about minimizing that harm. It is about whether the man he is today has earned the opportunity to be considered for parole. One of the clearest examples of his growth came after his 2023 transfer to SAT-F, which is his current housing. He had to completely start over without the mentors or support system he previously relied on. Instead of falling backward, he built a new support system for himself and for others. When opportunity was limited, he created it. He founded Life's Worth Optimism, Purpose, and Service, also known as LWOPS. The group hosts workshops, accountability groups, and community service projects. Several participants credit him with helping them prepare for parole and change the direction of their lives. Associate Warden Dela Cruz states in a laudatory chrono about LWOPS, quote, "I truly believe Smith cares as much for the creation of rehabilitative opportunities for inmates as much as anyone. Smith is commended for his commitment and contributions he has in improving the quality of the environment of the facility," end quote. Mr. Smith has also created The Onion, a newsletter that highlights the accomplishments and growth of incarcerated people in his yard. He uses it to celebrate achievements and successful releases. He also gives back through mentorship, trauma groups, and charitable donations of his time and funds. Today, Mr. Smith is viewed by peers and staff as compassionate, accountable, and committed to helping others grow. We respectfully ask that he be given the opportunity to continue proving that growth through the parole process. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Danielle Wilkins. Danielle, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Danielle Wilkins, an attorney with the USC Post-Conviction Justice Project, and I'm reading this statement on behalf of Mr. Kenneth Smith. To the Board of Parole Hearings, I would like to start by humbly thanking you for even considering me for this opportunity. Every day I wake up and get to breathe, see, smell, and hear is a constant reminder of the life I robbed Mr. Overland Campbell of. There is no amount of sorrow, grief, or remorse that can undo the harm I've caused. For the Campbell family, I've turned birthdays into sad days and holidays into memories. This is the regret I will be faced with for the rest of my life. For a long time, I just wanted to say I'm sorry, and I thought I would never get a chance to. I learned saying sorry is defined by your actions and how you live your life. So through taking accountability, a lot of hard work, and changing my thought process, today every moment is a chance to be better, to make my environment better, and to honor Mr. Overland Campbell by living a life of amends and service. I would be lying to you if I said I was perfect, but living a life without the possibility of parole sentence never took away my possibilities of being a better human being or taking full advantage of all the rehabilitation measures put in front of me. One example is creating an LWOP group where men can deal with their trauma, honor their victims, and give back to the community. This has brought me a sense of fulfillment because we are changing the narrative of the warped belief system that I was once a part of. To have the privilege to not only be a better human being, but to help others better themselves as well means everything to me. While I can never undo the harm I've caused, I can take it upon myself to dedicate the rest of my life to making life better for every single person I can, and to make my community a better place for all. Today, I am a man of faith that has hope, that operates with empathy and integrity. Today, I am guided by love and compassion, and I am grateful for every single opportunity in my life. Thank you for your time and consideration, Kenneth Smith.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Kenneth Smith.
All right, moderator, are there any speakers in opposition to Kenneth Smith?
Our first speaker is Michael Milano.
Yes, Deputy District Attorney Michael Milano on behalf of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, and also representing the trial deputy today, Catherine Chong. Mr. Smith received a sentence of life without possibility of parole for a brutal homicide where he personally used the firearm and acted on behest of a criminal street gang. During the trial, the evidence established that he was an 8-tray Gangster Crip gang member. The night that Overland Campbell was murdered, that he attended a gang meeting where he planned on committing a retaliatory shooting of a Rolling 60s gang member. Mr. Smith, along with 2 other gang members, drove into Rolling 60s gang territory looking for somebody to kill. Mr. Campbell, who lived in the neighborhood, was walking down the street, and he was not a gang member. However, Mr. Smith shot him numerous times, murdered, and killed him, mainly and primarily because he was a young male African-American who lived in the wrong neighborhood. Mr. Smith participated in this willful, deliberate and premeditated gang member of an innocent person. And that can't be lost in today's hearing. This sentence that was afforded Mr. Smith was appropriate, given the offense's severity and the circumstances involved in this crime. He has not today demonstrated compelling reasons for a commutation. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Kenneth Smith.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Danny Torres Jr., P02328, item 17. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Chairperson, there are no speakers signed up to speak in support of Danny Torres Jr.
All right, moderator, we'll take any speakers in opposition to Danny Torres.
Our first speaker is Maureen Green. Maureen, if you are on video, please unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button. If you're on the phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Good morning. My name is Maureen Green. I'm a Deputy District Attorney from Monterey County. We thank the board for staying on top of this case as to new information and an error of fact as to the inmate's substance use history. In 2025, Monterey Deputy DA Cheng opposed parole based on minimization of facts and significant criminal history. The inmate was granted parole. The grant did not stand because the audio was corrupted. This February, Deputy DA Green, yours truly, opposed parole based on recent minimization, deception, and failure to internalize necessary programming principles. For example, he said he was backing up the Asians until 2014, but then claimed that did not include backing them up in fights and claimed he was just a, quote, support person, close quote. For example, the inmate had inadequate programming and internalization of domestic violence principles, in particular, financial domestic violence. Most importantly, inadequate programming in his chosen substance abuse prevention method, the 12 steps. Though not a homicide or a domestic violence incident, this was not a victimless crime. Restaurant counter clerk Miss Stacy Hibbs had a gun put to her back by the inmate during the restaurant robbery. For these reasons, as well as the new information, we remain opposed, and we thank the esteemed panel and the esteemed en banc.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Danny Torres Jr.
All right, the next case is Tamara Robinson, X19148, item 18. Moderator, I do have a speaker in support in person. We'll take her first, and that's Ms. Paratori.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Lily Paratori, attorney for Ms. Robinson. Today, I'm asking you to vacate Ms. Robinson's denial of parole and order a new hearing based on multiple legal errors that occurred in that hearing. In support of this request, you'll hear from many people today, from law student advocates, from family members, from friends. But before you hear from all of those people, I wanted to provide some critical context to this case. No one contests that this crime was tragic. Ms. Robinson's actions against her nieces were violent, callous, and cruel. But even at the time of trial, the sentencing court did not believe Ms. Robinson was a public safety risk. While the law bound the court's discretion, the court said, quote, "You don't represent a threat to other people in the courtroom or people on the street. You don't constitute a threat to safety," close quote. This crime was born out of a series of heartbreaking events that will not occur again, and the court saw that Ms. Robinson was not capable of repeated violence. Despite these statements, Ms. Robinson has been repeatedly denied parole over the course of her 22 years of incarceration. With each hearing she's had, panels have been encouraging. They've acknowledged her palpable remorse, but desired further insight from her into her actions. And she's responded to each denial of parole with commitment and focus. And at her last hearing, she demonstrated incredible growth, remorse, self-awareness, and personal change. And she did all of this at age 67 while battling thyroid cancer, chronic fatigue, and pain. Unfortunately, the panel ignored her change, her complex medical needs, and her age. This combination of circumstances makes this denial of parole especially egregious. The denial must be vacated. Thank you.
All right, moderator, we do have a number of speakers listed online. Go ahead.
Correct. People who signed up to speak in support of Tamara Robinson, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button or press *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. The first speaker we have is Lillian Giles. Lillian, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lillian Giles, law student advocate for Ms. Robinson. As you all well know, the elderly parole program was established to reduce prison overcrowding while simultaneously releasing those statistically least likely to commit future violence. It requires the board to treat those over 50 and who have served 20 plus years differently than their younger counterparts. Ms. Robinson is 67 years old and has served over 22 years, making her eligible. At her last hearing, the panel failed to address how Ms. Robinson's time spent in custody dramatically decreases her risk for future violence. As you are well aware, the recidivism rate for all lifers is incredibly low, and even lower for elderly lifers. Most troublingly, the panel did not give special consideration to Ms. Robinson's diminished physical capacity. Ms. Robinson has thyroid cancer, which has been treated with surgery and radiation over the past 2 years, leading her to use a wheelchair. Ms. Robinson's cancer is still being monitored, and it is unclear whether it has returned. Ms. Robinson's poor health is not just a result of her cancer. She also suffers from insomnia, chronic fatigue, carpal tunnel syndrome, vomiting, and recurring ear and eye problems. As a cancer patient in a wheelchair with numerous other health conditions, it is hard to imagine how Ms. Robinson would be able to physically harm anyone. Finally, instead of understanding the impact of Ms. Robinson's advanced age on how she described her insight, the panel punished her for minor cognitive lapses. At her last hearing, Ms. Robinson was interrogated about the same topics repeatedly and asked to recall irrelevant, specific details of her 23-year-old case. This type of questioning can lead to anxiety and fatigue, particularly for elderly parole candidates. Ms. Robinson's insight and ability to use coping skills were clear, and had the panel properly considered her age, they would not have punished her for forgetting a few details. Because of her period of incarceration, physical condition, and age, Ms. Robinson's risk of violence is low. By not meaningfully considering these factors, the board's decision to deny parole was callous and illegal. Ms. Robinson deserves a rehearing. Thank you all.
Our next speaker is Thello Coleman.
Good morning, Commissioners. Philo Coleman, law student advocate for Ms. Robinson. As we all know, the board must grant parole unless it determines that the candidate currently poses an unreasonable risk of danger to the public. At Ms. Robinson's last hearing, the panel did not identify any specific material reason to support a finding that she is currently dangerous. Instead, the panel arbitrarily dismissed the tremendous insight she offered and ignored powerful evidence that she is a changed person. In this over 4-hour hearing, the panel exclusively asked Ms. Robinson about the facts of her life crime. Ms. Robinson answered those questions with profound self-awareness and accountability, discussing her character defects and the causative factors that led to her crime. But the panel rejected her testimony without explanation. The panel then skipped over the central issue that was supposed to guide the hearing, Ms. Robinson's current risk of danger. I am not exaggerating when I say that the panel did not ask Ms. Robinson a single question about the coping skills she's developed during her incarceration, about what she's learned in her long history of programming, or about the 5 robust relapse prevention plans she submitted in her packet. Nor did the panel acknowledge her stellar institutional record. She has no history of violence or other major misconduct in prison, and her last discipline was for missing a class over 3 years ago. In denying parole, the panel also departed from the findings of the CRA clinician, Dr. Cadell, who wrote that Ms. Robinson was able to identify the salient factors that played a role in her crime and has developed many coping skills that are likely to serve her well. Through programming, therapy, and reflection, Ms. Robinson has done the work to make sure she is never violent again. She deserves a full and fair opportunity to share with the board who she is today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tona Phillips.
My name is Tona Phillips, and I'm here today in strong support of Ms. Tamara Robinson. I have known Ms. Robinson since the early 1980s, and she has been a respected and meaningful part of my life for decades. Because of that, I can honestly say the woman she is today is not the same person she was 20 years ago. Tamara is now approaching 68 years old and has spent approximately 10 years incarcerated. Time, reflection, life experience has clearly changed her perspective. When I speak with her now, I hear wisdom, accountability, calmness, and gratitude. Her focus today is on peace, stability, family, health, and living responsibly. She recently underwent thyroid surgery, which makes support, stability, and proper care even more important at this stage in her life. I also want the board to know that Ms. Robinson will not be returning to uncertainty or isolation. She has a real support system waiting for her in Los Angeles. I personally stand ready to assist her transition and help ensure she is structured, positive community, and access to resources immediately upon release. As a licensed cosmetologist, cosmetology instructor, mentor, and nonprofit leader, I would not place my name, reputation, or trust behind someone I did not genuinely believe was ready for this opportunity. I truly believe Ms. Robinson is ready to come home and live the remainder of her life in peaceful, stable, and a productive way. I respectfully ask the board to strongly consider granting her release. Thank you for your consideration and your time.
Our next speaker is Sheridan Matthews. Sheridan, please unmute yourself by pressing *6. Sheridan, it looks like you're on the phone. Please unmute yourself by pressing *6. Sheridan, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning, members of the Parole Board. My name is Sheridan Matthews, and I'm a budget business analyst at the University of Southern California and the Alumni Association. I'm here today in support of my lifelong friend, Ms. Tamara Robinson, whom I've known since 1977. Tamara and I have shared nearly every stage of our life together, from young girls to adult women, and now as senior women. Over the decades, we have experienced both triumphs and hardships, and through those experiences, I have witnessed tremendous personal growth in her. Our friendship has endured because we have always been honest with one another and supportive during difficult times. During her incarceration, I have seen meaningful and sincere changes in Tamara. She has taken accountability for her past and has worked diligently to better herself. She has participated in multiple self-improvement and rehabilitation programs that have helped her develop a new perspective on life, responsibility, and her future. In our conversations, I hear a woman who is reflective, mature, and focused on living with purpose and integrity. She speaks about growth, family, faith, and making a positive contribution rather than dwelling on the past. What stands out most to me is her commitment to change. The Tamara I know today is more patient, thoughtful, and emotionally grounded. She understands the impact of her choices and has demonstrated a genuine desire to live productive and a peaceful life. I truly believe she has used this time to transform herself and to prepare for a successful return to society. I believe Tamara is ready to come home because she has done the internal work necessary to move forward in a positive direction. She has a support system of people who care deeply about her and want her to succeed, including myself. I'm confident that she will continue to be responsible, compassionate, and a contributing member to the community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next speaker is Sandra Johnson. Sandra, if you're with us, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 on the telephone or by pressing the microphone button on Teams. Sandra Johnson, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We will circle back to Sandra Johnson. Our next speaker is Jamie Popper.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jamie Popper. I met Tamara Robinson about 6 years ago when I was working as an attorney at Root and Rebound. I no longer work for Root and Rebound, but I'm here today in my personal capacity because I was surprised to hear she was denied parole and wanted a chance to share my experience with Tamara as I believe she is ready to return home. I met Tamara at CCWF when I co-facilitated a reentry preparation program called Roadmap to Reentry. Tamara stood out because she came with her 1,000-page book worn each session from reading it between sessions. She always stayed engaged and she shared insightful reflections and she asked thoughtful questions related to successfully transitioning home. As part of the program, she prepared a well thought out reentry plan. And then after graduating, she remarkably stayed in touch with me for as long as she could reach me, about 5 more years. She appropriately reached out when she needed support from someone on the outside. For example, when preparing to hopefully return home, she tried contacting cooking training programs on her own, but if she could not get through, she'd reach out to me to see if I could confirm that they received her letters or find a better way for her to connect with them. She was very responsible in doing her homework about transitional housing programs and following up to get responses. When the organization I worked for no longer had funding to continue the program at CCWF, I got permission from the CRM for people incarcerated at CCWF to continue leading a version of the program. Because of how focused Tamara was in our course and how committed to a successful return home she was, Tamara came right to mind as one of the 2 people
Your 2 minutes have
ask.
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
She showed me that she cared about others and would always reach out to get support, not only for herself, but also for others. I'm here today to ask that Tamara receive a new hearing and then finally return home where she can take care of her health and hopefully have more opportunities to give back to the community as she's shown herself committed to do. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lauren Beatty. Lauren, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 on the telephone or by pressing the microphone button on Teams. Looks like you're still muted. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We will circle back to you, Lauren. Our next speaker is Jamala Taylor. Jamala, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 on the microphone or by pressing the microphone button in Teams.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. My name is Jamala Taylor, and I'm the Reentry Director for Land Together, a nonprofit organization that operates within 9 prisons across the state and maintains a statewide reentry arm. Our mission is to support incarcerated individuals in building sustainable, dignified lives upon release. I've known Tamara for more than 4 years. Throughout that time, she has consistently impressed me with her honesty, diligence, and proactive approach to her own rehabilitation. Tamara has taken the lead on her own reentry planning. In fact, she has gone a step further. She has even provided our organization with additional resources, demonstrating a rare generosity and commitment to helping others even while she herself remains incarcerated. Tamara has 2 critical elements that research and experience show are essential to successful reentry: strong family support and community support. These are not abstract promises. They are active, waiting networks. If Tamara is granted release, Land Together is prepared to immediately provide her with transportation and housing upon her release date, employment referrals through our trusted partner organizations, housing referrals to safe, stable living environments. Beyond material needs, we also provide extensive social and emotional support, all of which Tamara has already expressed eagerness to utilize. This includes healing circles, support groups, and organized outings to parks across the state, all designed to help returning citizens build healthy community, reduce isolation, and practice wellness in nature. We look forward to receiving Tamara upon her release and look forward to her successful reentry. She has done the internal work, and with the support of organizations like Land Together, a supportive community, and her family, she is ready to thrive. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Our next speaker is Sonia Ramsey. Sonia, you may unmute yourself by pressing the microphone button or by pressing *6 on your telephone.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Over the past 20 years, I have personally witnessed a major transformation in Tamara's character. Her emotions, how she controls them, how she thinks. Numerous of conversations and observations over the years, because I was also incarcerated with her, so I got firsthand witness of her rehabilitation, her actions, her expressions, her genuine remorse, and I saw her working consistently on her paperwork and reading consistently self-help books. She would even come to me and ask me questions and ask me what she thought, what my thoughts were, to make sure her thoughts were aligned with what was correct and what was moral and what was right. Tamara has participated in so many self-help groups and rehabilitation programs and has demonstrated positive institutional behavior. She now understands the importance of emotional regulations. She seeks help when she needs to, and she responds to life-changing challenges in a healthier and more responsible way. From both my personal and professional experience, due to the fact I have first-hand experience, I have learned that rehabilitation is possible when a person truly commits to growth and change. I believe Tamara has done the work. I believe she deserves a second chance, and I believe that she has the opportunity to express and give back to the community in the best way she knows how. Thank you.
Our final speaker before we circle back is Cheryl Hall. Cheryl, please pressing *6 on your telephone or the microphone button if you are in Teams. Cheryl Hall, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I'll go ahead and circle back. We have Sandra Johnson. Sandra, are you with us? Lauren Beatty. Lauren, are you with us?
They're both having tech issues.
Yeah, we can circle back later.
Okay. Cheryl Hall. I'd like to remind everyone to please remember that if you would like to speak on a case, you must be registered to speak. Commissioner, there are no more speakers in support of Tamara Robinson.
And again, a reminder, there will be another opportunity at the very end of the meeting to circle back to anyone else. All right, are there any speakers in opposition to Ms. Robinson?
Our first speaker is Esmeralda Garcia. Esmeralda, if you're with us, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 on your telephone.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson took in her 3 nieces. She then mistreated them to the point of killing her 11-year-old niece and continued hurting the other 2 and had them help her cover up the death of their little sister and dispose of the body. This was a very disturbing and chillingly horrific crime committed by the very person who was entrusted with their care, who then changed her story several times in prior hearings, who at this last hearing and prior hearings victim blamed. And at the last hearing, she said that the kids, the 2 remaining nieces, could have killed their mother at any time. Ms. Robinson minimized her behavior, victim blamed, and the hearing transcript does not adequately convey how these types of comments were stated by Ms. Robinson. The panel clearly determined that the gravity and timing of the convicted offenses is such that consideration of the public safety requires a more lengthy period of incarceration for this individual. They determined that there is a rational nexus between the evidence and the ultimate determination of current dangerousness. As stated by Commissioner Reff, he was listening but did not hear a deeper insight into Ms. Robinson's causative factors and her understanding of those deeper factors, which in this case are vital to suitability. The panel listened to the evidence presented at the hearing, and that, together with the entire record in the case, was sufficient to determine Ms. Robinson remains an unreasonable risk of danger to the community and is therefore unsuitable for parole at this time. We respectfully request the panel's decision be upheld, as they did not make an error of law, nor did they base their decision on an error of fact. With the gravity of the convicted crimes and the issues cited by the panel
Your 2
in the
minutes have
decision
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
are considered by the board, we submit that there would not be a substantial likelihood of a substantial different decision upon a rehearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Tamara Robinson.
All right, the next case is Kelly Sorrell, WF 1134, item 19. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker in support is Aisha Warish. Here with us, please unmute yourself by pressing the Microsoft Teams microphone button.
Hi, good morning. I'm here in support of Kelly Sorrell's release. I work with and have gotten to know Kelly through my work with the UC Sentencing Project. I've worked close with Kelly for over 2 years and have witnessed firsthand the type of individual she is. Kelly is kind and compassionate, as well as thoughtful and insightful. Through her work with our organization, Kelly has helped individuals from various backgrounds through her journey of growth, accountability, and healing. Kelly invests her love and care into helping others around her and shows genuine concern for her community. Kelly is someone who continues to rebuild her life with purpose. She cares deeply about the people around her and her community and shows kindness, empathy, and patience even during difficult circumstances. Kelly has proven she can be a positive force for her outside community if released. I believe Kelly is ready to come home and back into society, not only to continue to rebuild her own life, but also positively impact the lives of those around her. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Kelly Sorrell.
All right, moderator, are there any speakers in opposition to Ms. Sorrell?
Our first speaker is Michael Milano.
Good morning, Deputy District Attorney Michael Milano on behalf of Los Angeles County. I would like to renew the arguments made at last month's en banc hearing on Ms. Sorrell's case, and again point out that we share the governor's concerns in this matter. He noted that she has stress and coping problems, and that this crime was motivated by racism. The governor's concerns in this matter are valid and further scrutiny is warranted. We need to consider whether the grant of parole was based on a finding of suitability, whether that was improvidently made and should be rescinded. I would say that Ms. Kelly has not shown a significant sustained period of offender change and needs to continue to work on self-help programming to mitigate her risk of relapse. The April 2026, that is correct, April 2026 rule violation shows ongoing criminal thinking and a lack of respect for the rules. This came after a grant of parole, and it shows that she has not yet internalized all the self-help messaging that she needs to. The offender change at this point is not yet substantial, clear, or consistent. Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Kelly Sorrell.
All right, thank you, moderator. The time now is 12:07. We are going to break for lunch break. We will be back at 12:45 to reconvene. So we will be adjourning at this time until 12:45 for all of those online. We will be back at that time for all of the remaining cases. We're in recess. What? I still got it. I'll start it right now. Smooth.
That's right.
All right. Madam Moderator, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, are you ready to begin with the Cruz case?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. The Executive Board is back in session. May board meeting. The time now is 12:46, and we'll resume our meeting with comments on the remaining cases, and then at the end, we'll circle back to anyone we may have missed. So the next case is Daniel Cruz, AL 2965, item 20. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers sign up to speak in support or opposition for Daniel Cruz.
All right, thank you. The next case is James Kelly, V 61966, item 21. Moderator, please call for speakers in support of James Kelly.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers in support for James Kelly.
Do we have any speakers in opposition for James Kelly?
I do. I have one speaker. I have Stacy Mello. Stacy, your microphone.
If you're with us. Go ahead. We can't hear you at this time.
Stacy, I see you here. You appear to be unmuted, but I cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My name is Stacy Mello. I'm the sister to the victim. I respectfully ask the board to remember that while years have passed for James Kelly, our life sentence began on the day that Jenny was murdered. Time does not erase the brutality of the crime or Jenny's permanent absence. Up until June 2024, James Kelly made absolutely no effort towards rehabilitation. It wasn't until he learned about the California Elderly Parole Program did he start attending programs. Until then, he continued to maintain that the murder was an accident and he never showed remorse. It wasn't until June 2024 that we heard the actual truth. We listened to his testimony describing his manipulation, jealousy, anger, and mental torture of my sister. Seeking counseling once a month and attending group therapy over a short period doesn't reduce or remedy his severe personality and character traits. That will take many, many years. Rehabilitation cannot be measured in a controlled environment, especially when a life was taken outside of one. Jenny was denied every future opportunity, every milestone, every remaining year of life. Our family continues to live with the emotional consequences every single day. We carry a life sentence of grief, trauma, and loss that cannot be undone. I respectfully ask the board to carefully consider not only the seriousness of the crime, but also whether true rehabilitation can genuinely erase the choices, mindset, and actions that led to such an irreversible violence. I urge you to deny parole for James Kelly and ask that his sentence be fully carried out. Thank you.
2 minutes have elapsed. Thank you, ma'am. Chairperson, there are no markers for James Kelly.
All right, our next case is Janessa Kick, WG 3965, item 22. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. People who are signed up to speak in support of Janessa Kick, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button or by pressing *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. This first speaker I have is Lauren Betty. Lauren, your microphone has been enabled. Go ahead and press *6 to unmute yourself, or press the microphone button on the top of your screen. Lauren, I see you in the meeting. Go ahead and press *6 to unmute yourself, or the microphone button on the top of your screen. Give me one moment. I also see your phone number in here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My name is Lauren Beatty, and I'm the program manager for Land Together's Insight Garden program at Central California Women's Facility. I've had the privilege of knowing Janessa for several years through our program, and over that time, I've come to know her as someone who is deeply intentional about her growth and the direction of her life. She's always looking for ways to support other people who may not have the same access or opportunities. And to me, that comes from the work she continues to do within herself. The way she gives back to others reflects a great deal of self-awareness, reflection, and personal growth. What gives me confidence in Janessa is not that what she says about the future, but the way she thinks about it. In my experience with her, she speaks with insight, accountability, and a realistic understanding of the work it takes to create lasting change. She understands that growth is not something immediate or temporary, but something built through reflection, consistency, and continued effort over time. And I've seen that understanding reflected in her own growth throughout the years I've known her. She's also isn't simply hoping for a different future. She's already started preparing for one. She's intentional about planning, outreach, educating herself, and building skills throughout her incarceration. I believe the qualities and abilities that she has developed during the time will translate successfully outside of prison and into employment, community involvement, and daily life. If released, Janessa would also have the continued support through Land Together's reentry team, including assistance with housing, employment navigation, transitional planning, reentry support circles, and ongoing community support to help support a successful transition back into society. I truly believe Janessa is ready for the opportunity to move beyond this chapter of her life and to continue building a healthier and more meaningful future for herself and her community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is Susan Bustamante. Susan, are you here with us? I'm going to go ahead and circle back to Susan. The next speaker I have is Tammy Cooper Gavin. Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support for Janessa Kick.
All right, are there any speakers in opposition?
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers in opposition for Janessa Kick.
And the next case is Michael Navarrete, BV 6312, item 23. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers in opposition or support for Michael Navaretti.
Thank you. The next case is Jason Pappas, F97623, item 24. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. The first speaker I have in support is Dale Ogden.
Good afternoon. My name is Dale Ogden, and relevant here, I represented Mr. Pappas in his resentencing, and I speak today in support of him. There was a reason the court granted resentencing, and it had nothing to do with me. It was Mr. Pappas that's treated all the risk factors that led him here. As I know the board knows, he's had extensive alcohol abuse treatment, participated in AA and NA for decades, served as an AA facilitator and co-facilitator, even, receiving praise for those roles for years, many years before resentencing even became a possibility. He's also worked to get his associate's degree in behavioral counseling to not only prevent himself from ever making this worst decision in his life again, but to help others not make that same mistake. And he has a support system. I know his mother is there for him. Other family and friends are there as well. Multiple of them reporting that their home is available to them, to Mr. Pappas. So many family and friends reached out to show their support during this resentencing process. I don't think I've ever had that much support calls in my career. But why I really wanted to speak today is this. In granting resentencing, the court stated, and even put in the minute order, this, quote, "The defendant has participated in AA and NA meetings. He has taken college-level courses and has a strong support system with his family. Overall, the defendant appears to be a strong candidate for a prosperous and stable life." In all my years, I've never seen a court make such a finding, much less believe in it so much to put it in the minute order to alert those who followed how much rehabilitation he's engaged in. And there's a reason for that. Mr. Pappas will have that prosperous and stable life. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support for Jason Pappas.
All right, we'll now take speakers in opposition to Jason Pappas.
Thank you. The first speaker I have is Todd Graham.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Graham. I'm a Deputy District Attorney with Riverside County, speaking in opposition to the release of inmate Pappas. On June 3rd, 2009, Mr. Pappas was driving highly intoxicated with the victim Gregory Fisher as his passenger. The inmate led police on a high-speed chase in Cathedral City, running multiple red lights and failing to yield to police lights and sirens. He eventually crashed into a palm tree, killing Mr. Fisher. The inmate's blood alcohol was 0.25. The inmate was sentenced to life in prison for second-degree murder along with DUI. He was granted parole last December. The inmate is a lifelong criminal, committing almost every crime imaginable, including multiple DUIs and multiple violations of parole. He has had serious alcohol and substance abuse problems his entire life. The governor asked that his case be reviewed on whether or not the inmate, quote, has sufficiently mitigated his risk factor for substance use relapse. Our view is that he has not. At the hearing last December, the inmate was asked, quote, "What additional coping tools do you have at this time to address your substance abuse?" unquote. Well, the inmate had mentioned the harm of killing his friend, and basically that was it during this interchange. His answer should have been a lengthy, uncoached laundry list of all the ways and means he would use on the outside to keep from ever devolving into drugs and alcohol again and endangering the public. The fact that he didn't do so, when given the clear opportunity to address the central issue of his commitment crimes, is telling. The inmate should have been challenged on this inadequate response. We believe his parole was improvidently granted and should be rescinded. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Chairperson, I have no more speakers for Jason Pappas.
All right, the next case is Amy Priesmeyer, X29459, item 25. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We have many speakers for Amy Priesmeyer. Those that are speaking in support, please raise your hand by pressing *5 on your telephone or by pressing the raise hand button on the Microsoft Teams button. The first speaker I have is Elizabeth Lonzo. I just saw you. Elizabeth, go ahead and press star. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Lozano. I'm here today in support of Amy's suitability. I was a former juvenile LBWOP who served 30 years. I was released on March 14th of 2025. Since my release, I've worked with the University of Santa Cruz as the Director of Inside Initiatives. I work with the Prosecutors Alliance, facilitating healing circles in CDCR prisons between district attorneys and residents. I've received my Medi-Cal peer support specialist certification and am a registered substance abuse coach and a life coach, and I work with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I share these accomplishments as an example of what rehabilitation continues to look like upon release. While Amy acknowledges no change or transformation changes her past poor choices, she has made a serious and honest commitment to changing her life for the better in recovery. She has dedicated significant time to introspection regarding the decisions that led to the harm she caused. She assumes full accountability for her actions and the adverse impact she had on others, recognizing that unresolved trauma, addictions, and a profound sense of non-acceptance were significant factors in her behavior. She acknowledges that she lacked the necessary tools and support to address her challenges. Consequently, she developed inadequate coping mechanisms that ultimately guided her astray. Amy, today, right now, she's a chairperson for the Inmate Advisory Council. She's a chairperson for the Juvenile Offenders Committee. She just graduated and received her BA. Amy has participated, facilitated, and has been a part of almost every self-help group that has been offered at CCWF. I have witnessed her transformation myself and how much she gives of herself to help the youth, guide them in a better direction. There are some, all these programs are some of what have contributed to her emotional development, fostered empathy, and initiated the process of self-forgiveness and forgiveness for others. These skills have instilled in her leadership, responsibility, and the ability to collaborate effectively with others. Amy remains steadfast in her commitment to this ongoing journey of personal growth, as we know that we continue to grow as humans.
Have elapsed.
And
Please
she acknowledges, Amy acknowledges that her demand will continue. I am confident that I provided with the opportunity of parole. Amy will continue to be a positive. And
thank you. The next speaker I have is Tina Marie Silva.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Sorry. Hello, my name is Tina Marie Silva. I am a statewide coordinator for the California Coalition for Women Prisoners. I'm also formerly incarcerated. I know Amy as a peer as well as an advocate. When I crossed paths with Amy in 2013, it is a night and day image for who I see today. Amy, I met, was still finding her way as a young person with a life term. I was transferred to her for the remainder of my time, and I reunited with Amy a few years ago when I took on my role with CCWP. I was stunned to see Amy so focused on bettering her community and being a support for those who are currently struggling with their time in rehabilitation. She spent a number of years as the chair for the Inmate Advisory Council for the entire prison. And in this role, you must be an example, and that's something Amy did extremely well. Due to her past choices and experience, she serves as an example that rehabilitation is possible with work and dedication. She created a strong support system inside as well as one out here. You'll also hear from Yannick Ortega, her sponsor, how she plans to continue her sobriety and her work on herself and growth while she comes out here. I would not be shocked if she continues to advocate for the folks inside as she does for herself and her own rehabilitation and growth. I'm honored to support Amy Priestmeyer, and I hope we uphold the grant. She will do such great work out here, and we're looking forward to greeting her. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Chris Hawthorne.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes.
Thank you to the board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Christopher Hawthorne. I'm the director of the Juvenile Innocence and Fair Sentencing Clinic at Loyola Law School. I've been Amy Priestmeyer's attorney for nearly 14 years, which is as long as my clinic has been in existence. So I think I have some authority in describing her transformation during that time from a troubled young adult that I met to the mature, insightful, and generous woman she is today. The Amy Priesmeyer I met in 2012, shortly after Miller v. Alabama was decided, was not ready to get out of prison. Despite her intelligence and competence, she was lacking a foundation. That lack of foundation came from childhood trauma and her denial of responsibility for the crime that resulted in her life without parole sentence. Ms. Priesmeyer's denial was almost as corrosive as her trauma, and the two together were disastrous. Her struggles in prison, drug and alcohol abuse, conflicts with other inmates, persistent criminal thinking, all of those came from trauma and denial. We worked on denial first. It was a survival strategy for Ms. Priesmeyer given her childhood. But to be a whole person, she had to stop denying and address her crime and the behaviors that led up to it. That process took years, but it was successful. Next came trauma. Ms. Priesmeyer's substance abuse arose from trauma. On the surface, she was a positive, healthy person and a person who helped others, even when she was unable to help herself. But she was hollowed out because of trauma. Acknowledging that allowed her to finally deal with her addiction. She's now a complete person with an enduring commitment to helping others, which is born from her own lived experience. I have witnessed Amy Priesmeyer become a mature, sensitive, and empathetic adult as she is today. 5 years ago, I could not have made this statement in support of my client, but I'm proud to make this statement today. Ms. Priesmeyer's done the work. It wasn't easy and it wasn't fast, but she's ready for and deserving of freedom. I ask the board to uphold the panel's decision to grant Amy Priesmeyer parole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Lee Gibson. You're still muted, sir. Go ahead and press the microphone button at the top of your screen. It's close to the leave button in the window. It says MIC.
We still can't hear you.
It's at the very top of the window. Okay, Mr. Gibson, I'm going to go ahead and circle back to you. The next speaker I have is Yannick Ortega.
You can also dial in by phone.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Yannick Ortega, she, her, with Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition. Prior to working for Sister Warriors, I was the director of a SUD inpatient detox facility holding 12 beds and supervising 24 staff members for 5 years, all while working with the juvenile courts, teaching impact justice classes for the youth through probation, guiding them down a more successful path. I'm here in support of Amy Priesmeyer as the advocacy and organizing coordinator for Sister Warriors and as Amy's sponsor, and knowing Amy for many years, I fully support her. While being her sponsor, I commit to holding Amy accountable while being in support of her reentry process. I commit to speaking with Amy at a minimum of 3 times a week, going over her reentry plan and daily inventory that will be implemented in her accountability process. We will continue to practice her 12 steps while adjusting those steps to fit her new way of living in the world. I will always keep honest and open communication with Amy, as we have agreed is the best approach to her maintaining her sobriety as well as maintaining being a productive member of society. I will also support Amy with employment opportunities, reentry support services, and housing options as she completes her way to her stay at the reentry home. Amy has proven her change and accountability for her past actions by the way that she currently lives in the institution. Change is not something you say, change is something you do. Amy's values have changed, her morals have changed, her heart has changed, and her perspective on life has changed, all for the better. Amy has not only educated herself, but also healed and gained insight in all the ways that allows her to show respect, empathy, and compassion towards other human beings. Amy would not only bring different skills to the outside world, she would be an asset to her community and anyone she may cross paths with. I ask that those in power please allow Amy the opportunity to show what her rehabilitation looks like to our society by granting her the opportunity to parole home. It is in great humility I ask this of you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next person I have is Tina Schindler.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Tina Schindler. I'm here to speak in support of Amy's sister, as Amy Priestmeyer, as her sister. As her sister, I have obviously known her entire life. I've witnessed firsthand the struggles she's endured. I've also had the same childhood that she had, essentially. And so we share a lot of similarities. I do believe she's made significant progress and positive changes over the last years. And due to the limited time, I'm going to briefly address ways that I can help her and support her relapse prevention plan. In terms of substance abuse, I myself have never experimented or done any drugs ever. I truly believe that Amy now comprehends that the pernicious effects that drugs and alcohol have on one's life. I will continue to remind her and show her how egregious drug use is to one's body and mind and the repercussions it would hail down on her life. I will be a model and mentor to her to use other examples such as exercise, mindfulness, therapy to avoid any such dependencies. I also know that our family has strengthened since she's been in prison. Our familial relationship has improved, and to this day, I regret not being a better role model for her during her youth while I was in college and she was in high school. I can't turn back the clock, but I can create a new path going forward and a better ending. I have a flexible work schedule. I'm currently a licensed patent attorney in the state of California, and I teach at a local law school. So I have flexibility. Both of my kids are successfully in college out of state. I can devote all of my time to helping Amy succeed in life. I will meet her in person as often as needed and by phone. I will guide her. I've been a law-abiding, moral citizen my entire life, and I can help her with her future aspirational career goals. I have, through my legal networks, a lot of connections with juvenile justice and organizations. I think that she can actually help on the outside future youth avoid ending up like she did. And should financial support be a concern, I have an extra spare bedroom in my house that she could stay at for the rest of her life.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I do not think she's an unreasonable risk to society, and I ask that you grant the parole. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is Kelly Rodriguez. Kelly, are you here with us?
My name.
Go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
My name is Kelly Savage Rodriguez. I have known Amy Priestmeyer since 2013 when I was transferred to CCWF from Valley State. I was also serving life without the possibility of parole as a hearing impaired individual. I was supported by Amy in multiple ways, as well as been able to work with her hand in hand on some rehabilitation work around restorative justice and a curriculum that helped encourage and motivate their youth offender group to make change. As soon as I entered that institution, I realized what an impact Amy was able to have on my life because she was willing to be open and vulnerable and honest about her commitment and how she wanted to change her life. And I just want to commend her for all the work that she has continued to do. I have been blessed to be able to work with her on from the outside with legal visits and communication on the tablet, as well as the phone and letters. And I have seen the progress and change both in events inside the institution, as well as the way she is working to support so many others as she does her own healing work. I will continue to support her while she's in the community, uplifting the work that she is continuing to do inside, and want to thank the board's time.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is Shania Barismo Brooks.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Hi, I am a law student under the supervision of Christopher Hawthorne. I'm going to read an edited version of a letter written by Ms. Priesmeyer's daughter, Kaylee. She's given me permission to read this letter. Dear Parole Board members, my name is Kaylee. I'm 27 years old. I work as a first grade teacher and I graduated from the University of Colorado Boulder. But my education and my career don't come close to defining me as much as my family does. At the core of who I am is the reality that I'm the daughter of Ricky Cowles and Amy Priesmeyer. For the past 20 years, my life has been marked by emotional conflict and heartache. I spent 2 decades navigating this space between two families that I love and care about deeply, each carrying different beliefs about my mother and her worthiness of support. I still stand here today as a 27-year-old woman facing the same emotions and conflicts. Being pulled between two families is painful and so often feels like I'm nothing more than a pawn in whatever battle they think they're fighting. But this isn't a game to be won. This is my life, and I won't allow myself to be used to fuel anyone's narrative. No one gets to speak for me but me. I'm writing to express the support for my mother, and this decision is not one I've taken lightly. Before she became incarcerated, my mom was constantly making sure I felt loved and protected, and she was intentional in every choice that she made for me. Even after she became incarcerated, she consistently placed my emotional well-being above her own, often choosing silence or sacrifice if she believed it would spare me from more hurt. My mom has made her share of mistakes, but she's never faltered in being a good mother. I also want to acknowledge with deepest respect my grandparents, Rick and Debbie Cowles. Their pain is something I felt my entire life. They lost someone replaceable, as did I. I love them and I'm mindful of their perspective, but I would not be writing this letter unless I wholeheartedly believe that my mother's prepared to live a positive, productive life outside of prison. I understand that your decision
2
today
minutes
is
have elapsed.
extremely.
Please conclude your statement.
I understand your decision is extremely important today. I know you weigh every factor and every voice, and I want to thank you for weighing and giving weight to mine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is Alice Newman.
Hi, my name is Alice Newman, and I am an attorney with the Juvenile Innocence and Fair Sentencing Clinic at Loyola Law School. As a law student in this clinic, I worked on Ms. Priesmeyer's statutory resentencing. Now, as an attorney, I supervise law students and have represented dozens of clients in parole hearings and reviewed hundreds of relapse prevention plans. Today, I'm here to speak briefly about Ms. Priesmeyer's manipulation prevention plan in particular. I chose to focus on this plan because it goes beyond a standard relapse prevention plan. It does not simply identify broad triggers or coping skills. It addresses a more specific and difficult issue, the thinking patterns around control, blame, justification, and manipulation that Ms. Priesmeyer herself has identified as part of her past. Her plan is concrete and practical. She identifies a cycle she has worked to understand in herself: manipulation, codependence, criminal thinking, unhealthy relationships, and anger. She also identifies the denial patterns that allowed harmful behavior to continue. Most importantly, she has tools to interrupt those patterns early before they escalate. In my view and in my experience, this plan shows practical insight and real accountability. Ms. Priesmeyer has identified the thinking patterns that created risk in the past, and she has developed a concrete plan to prevent those patterns from causing harm again. For that reason, I respectfully urge the board to affirm the grant and allow the panel's finding of suitability to stand. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Marissa Harris.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Marissa Harris. I'm an attorney and I've known Ms. Priesmeyer for almost 10 years. Today, I respectfully request that this panel affirm Ms. Priesmeyer's parole suitability finding. She is ready to become a productive member of society. I'm going to speak to her sobriety, one of the board's concerns that brought her here today. This panel is tasked with assessing whether Ms. Priesmeyer has sufficiently mitigated her risk for substance abuse relapse. The answer is unequivocally yes, and the record proves it. At Ms. Priesmeier's last hearing, the commissioners found that she had walked them through, in their own words, the important elements of a successful relapse prevention plan, and they were satisfied that she had done that. They found that she clearly understood that seeking approval from negative peers affected her behavior and her decision-making. Those findings were correct then, and Ms. Priesmeier's conduct since then has only confirmed that. Ms. Priesmeier has been sober from narcotics since 2014, almost 12 years. She's completed life skills, substance abuse programs, and Narcotics Anonymous, and she works her steps consistently with the support of a sponsor and plans to continue doing so in the community upon release. Through that programming, she has developed genuine insight into the roots of her addiction, including recognizing that tolerating substance use around her was itself a vulnerability she needed to address. And she did, and she has not used or been around alcohol in 6 years. What further distinguishes Ms. Priesmeier is her humility. She's not overconfident. In her own words, because I've been doing so strong, it doesn't mean relapse can't happen. Once an addict, always an addict, and anything can happen. So I always have to be aware of that. She's already researched meeting locations upon release and connected with the New Way of Life, which offers meetings 3 times a week. Her written substance abuse recovery maintenance plan reflects those same coping skills in action. My recovery starts with me. I need to recognize how I have impacted others, not only how they've impacted me. Relapse has pulled me away from the best me and caused harm to everyone around me. Relapse is not an option. Ms. Priesmeier holds herself to high standards as a mother, a friend, a daughter, and a sister, and she knows she can't do those things if she uses. Commissioners, the panel saw clearly who Ms. Priesmeier is. Her sobriety is essential to her success, and she knows that. I urge the panel to affirm Ms. Priesmeier's suitability for parole. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I wanted to go ahead and circle back to Lee Gibson. Lee, I have you unmuted here on your phone.
Can you hear me?
And yes, sir, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. My name is Lee Gibson. I come before you not only as an advocate for Amy Priesmeier's release, but as someone who understands the transformative journey that comes after years of incarceration. After serving 25 years, I now have the privilege of being the Community Advocacy Manager for Initiate Justice, where my mission is to unite our community and foster positive change. Amy was personally instrumental in organizing dozens of community-based organizations to come to her institution, where we provided resources to the entire population on 2 different occasions. Amy serves her community inside and will continue to once she is released. Today, the voices you hear speaking on behalf of Amy are just a few among many who support her. Amy is thoughtful, patient, and considerate, with a rich history of helping others. Her leadership qualities shine brightly, and it's clear that she has an army of supporters standing with her, ready to help her thrive. We have extensive connections across various networks that will provide Amy with the resources she needs to pursue her goals. We are committed to ensuring that individuals who come into our networks do not fail. Together, we will introduce Amy into the support system she requires, whether that's in sobriety, building relationships, or finding meaningful opportunities. I personally will be here for Amy and make sure she is supported during her transition from prison, then her release from parole, throughout her journey, making amends by serving her community. I'm asking us not to overlook the chance to support someone who embodies the spirit of compassion and resilience. By granting Amy her release and upholding her finding of suitability, we're not just giving her a second chance. We're investing in a community leader who will uplift and inspire others. Thank you for considering this opportunity to support a truly deserving individual, and please uphold her suitability. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wanted to circle back to Susan Bustamante. Susan, are you in the meeting with us? Susan, if you're here, please raise your hand by pressing *5. Okay, giving one more opportunity to Tanny Cooper Gavin. And then I have another speaker, Jesus Gonzalez, who's listed, but I'm not sure if they're speaking for support or opposition. Mr. Gonzalez, are you with us? Chairperson, those are all the speakers I have in support for Amy Priesmeier.
Priesmeier, we do see there are speakers in opposition. Let's go to the speakers in opposition, please.
Thank you. The first speaker I have is Deborah Cowles.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yes. Hi, thank you for listening to me today. I'm the mother of Richard Callis Jr., and I am here to once again try to express my feelings about Amy Priesmeyer. We have seen her over the last 28 years and knew her previous to that, and she has shown no difference in her temperament towards our family, towards this crime. She still did not take accountability. She was blaming everyone else. She has abusive behaviors. She has been a drug addict. She has committed several crimes in prison in a controlled environment that aren't petty crimes. They are crimes that were major crimes that she was, tried and was found guilty of, which she has not served any time for. She was given a life sentence with 10 plus 10 years. And at that point, I thought, that we wouldn't have to keep going over and over and over. Rick was our only son. He was a hardworking, loving person, great guy. She made him out to be a monster. She said she met Prince Charming, and between January 1st and the first part of August, she turned him into a monster and made sure that she had him killed within basically a 7-month period. And I just can't express it enough that she has not changed in our opinion at all. You can take so many classes in a controlled environment. You can go to school and say you're a doctor, and there's, you can say it, but are you? I mean, she just has not shown to us that she actually has reformed at all. Her personality is the same, and you can't change somebody's personality. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is Richard Cowles.
Good afternoon. This is Richard Cowles, father of Ricky Cowles. He worked with me every day. We leave early in the morning and work late at Edwards Air Force Base. We talked about family, having the baby, and he was happy, energetic about all that. And even the day that the assassination happened in his apartment, he was in a good mood. We were donating some time at the fairgrounds, and she kept tracking to make sure he'd be home on time because Billy Hoffman, the murderer, was lying in wait. And from then on, we had no contact hardly with her after that. Her and her family really didn't even care what happened. They just wanted to move their furniture out of the apartment and get on with life. And to this day, they've never really apologized or admitted what she did. He was going to take over our business, which we could be slowed down at this point in life, which couldn't happen because of her. And it took years after the murder got arrested to get her arrested. So she was pretty well free. And then we've shared a lot of time with the baby, and she turned out to be a really good granddaughter. But don't believe that there's a reason a murderer should be out of prison when she was the person that could have stopped it. She's the one that started it and arranged it all. And for her age, she was very brilliant on the crime. That's all.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Shaylin Gregson.
Hello and good morning. I am Shaylin Gregson, Ricky Cowles' sister. Ricky was the best big brother, the kindest man. He was smart, he was funny, he was hardworking, and the biggest love to everyone except Amy. She had different plans for him. She didn't want anyone to get in her way. She plotted to make him look like a bad guy to all her people when everything she said he was doing was exactly what she was up to. She has only one agenda in her life: to hurt, control, manipulate, persuade, and plan her next plots. Prison has been her playground to her, to be who she really is. She has been horrible, raping people, drugs, alcohol, money laundering, you name it. and she's involved with it. I worry for the new people's families' lives that she will destroy if she is released. I can only hope we are saving lives by keeping her incarcerated. Ricky deserves justice, and that's what we had with her in life for her life sentence of 100 years plus 10. To hear out of her mouth that she didn't even care if he was missing, dead, she just wanted him gone. After 28 years, she still has not one bit of remorse. Ricky was leaving her the night before she had this done, so she knew she had to do it. I would have been there, but she came to my work and said they were going to talk. I will never forgive myself for not going by. I could have maybe stopped it. I'm glad we are able to be Ricky's voice today to plea for justice. Please keep Ricky in your hearts, and thank you for being here. And I also want to add that Amy Priestmeyer and her sister were not abused. They will make that up so she has a reason and an outlet. They figured out as a family that would probably be the best lie and best solution. So yeah, they will keep lying their whole lives. They've never even admitted it. They still, they're in denial. So thank you for being here and listening. Please keep Ricky in your heart. Have a good day.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Larry Brandenburg. Larry? I'm going to go ahead and circle back to Larry. The next speaker I have is Michael Milano.
Good afternoon. Deputy District Attorney Michael Milano.
Sorry, Mr. Milano. One moment. Chairperson?
Stand by. Yeah, I think Mr. Brandenburg was raising his hand. Mr. Milano's in opposition, not in support.
We've been on opposition.
I'm sorry. Mr. Brandenburg was raising his hand. Mr. Milano is, right when you called Mr. Milano, I thought Mr. Brandenburg started speaking.
No, sir. I believe we're on opposition for Amy Piercemeyer.
Correct. Who was the person you just called before Mr. Milano?
Shaylin Gregson, who is also in opposition for Amy Piercemeyer.
I apologize. I thought you called another name in opposition. I thought someone else started speaking. Go ahead.
Mr. Milano, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Deputy District Attorney Michael Milano from Los Angeles County. The incarcerated person not only instigated, but solicited others to join, organized, and helped execute a premeditated and deliberate murder of Richard Cowles Jr. The governor correctly, I believe, pointed out some very valid concerns as to the risk factors for future violence of Ms. Priestmeyer. I think it would be wise to give proper scrutiny and further investigation into the previous finding of suitability and to look into whether it was made in a provident way or whether it should be rescinded. The governor pointed out that there was a lack of self-awareness on the part of Ms. Priestmeyer. We all know that the lack of self-awareness leads to a lack of insight, which is a lack of insight into the causative factors of the crime, which increases the risk of future dangerousness. You just heard from the victim's mom in this same vein that the incarcerated person is engaged in image management, denial, and deflection throughout this process. The governor also noted that she had been associating with negative peers, even while engaged in positive pro-social programming. She was convicted at CDCR of possession of a controlled substance and has multiple substance abuse diagnoses for stimuloid, opioid, and marijuana use disorder. Her institutional behavior, she admitted in 2021 that she had sold alcohol and had engaged in financial crimes. At this time, it is clear to me that the offender change is not substantial. It is not clear and it is not consistent. And a further scrutiny is required in this matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Michael Blake. Mr. Blake, you appear to be muted. Go ahead and press *6 or the microphone button at the top of your screen. Go ahead.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can.
Yes.
Thank you. I am the trial attorney who handled the case against Amy Priestmeyer when her involvement was discovered almost 10 years after the murder of Ricky Cowles. I just want to say a few things about what transpired at the hearing in December and my views here. First of all, don't be aware that Amy Priestmeyer in prison enjoys a celebrity-like status because of the life crime. She's a socially adept person who, to this day, needs a manipulation prevention plan, as you heard from an earlier speaker. She's able to navigate the daily prison politics and conspire with antisocial peers, as is evident in the transcript from the hearing, to get what she wants in custody. She has a history of substance abuse and methamphetamine, heroin, and manufacturing alcohol. All of those things should be also of concern. But for me, seeing this and understanding the case the way I do, it is a stunning lack of insight that concerns me the most. It's not reasonable to expect that her actions will be any different when she encounters conflict again on the outside, in her daily life or in her domestic space. Do not lose sight of the fact that this was a domestic violence crime. For this reason, she still poses an unreasonable risk to the community if she is released. It is understood that she will be released. I shouldn't say if, but the point I want to make is she's not ready, and that was apparent at the December hearing. What the board should be most concerned with is her unique ability to conspire with others and get people to incriminate themselves and commit crimes to benefit her, mainly her. This trait was apparent in the life crime and has been evident throughout her entire course of incarceration. These traits are instrumental in the life crime, and they appear also to
2 minutes have
be
elapsed.
furthering.
Please conclude your statement.
Ms. Priestmeyer, in her own words, has said she would fail. She knows the words, but she hasn't learned the song, and she is not ready for parole. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to give another opportunity to Larry Brandenburg. Larry, if you're with us, please raise your hand by pressing *5 on your telephone or pressing the raise hand button in Microsoft Teams. Chairperson, I have no more speakers in opposition to Amy Priestmeyer.
All right, and again, for those that aren't getting through or having technical difficulties, we'll have another opportunity, and you can also try to dial in by phone. All right, let's move on to the next case. I think that's the same thing that happened to me last time. Somebody started speaking, and I thought it was Mr. Brandenburg. All right, we'll come back to him. The next case is Hardeep Singh. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. The first speaker I have in support for Hardeep Singh is Rebecca Rapkin.
Go ahead, Ms. Rapkin.
You're still
No,
muted.
we
Go
can't
ahead
hear.
and press the microphone button at the top of your screen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and circle back to you. The next speaker I have is Laurel Wilson.
Hi, my name is Laurel Wilson, and I'm speaking in support of Hardeep Singh. For the past 40 years, I've been a marriage, family, child counselor for at-risk youth, teens, and families, a teacher and administrator, a school board trustee, and now I am a volunteer teacher and facilitator inside San Quentin Rehabilitation Center. About 2 years ago, I met Mr. Singh as an outside facilitator for the group Voices Heal, which is the first interactive 290 group inside San Quentin. Of 3,000 incarcerated people, many of whom are 290 offenders inside San Quentin, Mr. Singh is the one that showed the courage, the willingness, and the dedication to be selected for the first cohort. This group explores the why, the how, the accountability of their crimes so that they will never again, personally or as part of our larger society, commit harm. In that weekly group, I witnessed Mr. Singh share, confront, and transform himself with vulnerability and honesty to be the man I know he is today. That's why I'm here speaking. I do not write letters for everyone who asks me, only for those whom I believe in. I see in Mr. Singh someone who has done the work and now is actively committed to preventing harm as a peer counselor in Light Keepers, which is a suicide mental health support group, and in ISU-DT, an important substance abuse program. Both places where he has stepped into a role of responsibility and healing and making amends. Healed people heal people. I know others who have paroled and are powerful healers in their outside community.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Okay. I speak as someone who has had many conversations with Singh, and I believe that his release is a good decision, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker I have is KENNETH Bun.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to speak on behalf of Mr. Singh today. My name is Chanton Bun. I am the Executive Director of Asian Prison Support Committee. We also run a cultural relevancy ethnic study program inside San Quentin called Roots, Restoring Our True Self. I met Mr. Singh about 8 years ago while he came to San Quentin, and I was an incarcerated person there. Mr. Singh has shown lots of growth. I remember when he first came and I first spoke to him, very respectful, shy person, but really opened up. There's been many days where I spent sitting down with Mr. Singh, talking through his crime, talking to his shame, talking about his cultural shame, and working it through alongside our ethnic study program with cultural relevancy to his trauma growing up as an immigrant and also a person that's trying to acculturate to this new country. I've kept contact with Mr. Singh since I paroled in 2020 and had long conversation about his future, what he's doing now, and the responsibility that he holds within himself of the crimes that he committed. I urge this body to grant Mr. Singh his parole. We at Asian Prison Support Committee are ready to support him in his re-entry. We are ready to accompany him in acculturating back to his community. Mr. Singh has been one of who I call my uncles that also supported my re-entry journey and also my healing journey. I am here today as Executive Director of an organization that support APIs and understanding the lived trauma, cultural trauma, and also the cultural shame that comes along with committing a crime within our community. Today I'm here because of people like Mr. Singh that supported me also, and I'm here to support him and to see him have a
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you so much for this time with you. I'm here in support of Mr. Singh.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Brian Bunselin.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Brian A.C. Gonsolin. I'm the executive director of Voices Heal /Brave. I'm the co-founder of this program that's in San Quentin. And I'm here in support of Mr. Singh. I've known Mr. Singh for, I want to say 7 years. I first met him while playing basketball. And he found out that we were starting a group that's dealing with individuals who've committed sexual harm, and he wanted to be a part of it. I had the privilege of interviewing him for our first cohort, and I watched him minimize some of the things that he did to the point to now that he's fully accountable. I believe that an individual who can move through their shame to a point of accountability can more likely understand how they got there so it won't happen again. And I'm in here to support Mr. Singh and be there for him when he come home. I'm willing to support him and be his accountability partner because I understand how hard it is to navigate being on parole and coming home as a 290. I've been home 2 years myself, thanks to Commissioner Long for granting me my parole, and I'm willing to step up for Mr. Singh and be his accountability partner and check on him once a week for the first 90 days, and then after that, once a month for 60 days on to the year. And so I'm here to speak on his suitability. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Sierra Cardenas.
Hello, let me know if you can hear me okay.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay. Hi, commissioners. My name is Sierra Cardenas, and I'm the Reentry Admin Coordinator for No More Tears. I'm speaking in support of the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center resident Hardeep Singh's grant for parole. Our program has been operating inside San Quentin State Prison since 2002 and is recognized in many justice-impacted communities and CDCR. We're touted for the low recidivism rates of the paroled participants we serve. Our program is a 12-week crime and violence prevention workshop series for incarcerated individuals who subsequently commit themselves to freeing their mindset of violent and criminal thinking and behavior. And we also conduct monthly restorative justice healing circles and real-life reentry classes. Hardeep Singh is a graduate of our 12-week violence and crime prevention workshop series. In these sessions, he got to explore his belief system, the driving forces behind his decision, relationship workshops are based on a trauma-informed, rehabilitative, and restorative practice approach. During his time with No More Tears, I've personally witnessed him being respectful in communication, proactive with opportunities for crucial knowledge growth, and he has also showed the tools that Mr. Singh has obtained in this course will assist him tremendously as he prepares for successful return to his community. Upon his release, Hardeep will be enrolled with No More Tears' reentry support team and have access to successful returned citizens, community professionals, and other reentry resources. This includes pre-release case support and individualized reentry plans, release clothing, and $250 post-release for immediate needs, gate pickup and breakfast, warm handoff to partner organizations, assistance obtaining essential documents, and participation in our No More Tears Returned Citizens peer support group. Thank you for your serious consideration of my humble request for Hardeep Singh's grant of parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Lonnie Morris. Lonnie, if you're with us, please raise your hand by pressing *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. The next speaker I have is Menvar Tor.
Good afternoon. My name is Manvir Tour. I am Hardeep's nephew. Me and my family have remained in regular contact with him through phone calls on a daily basis. We have personally seen him change over the years. I understand the nature of Hardeep's offenses, and he has been honest with me about what he did and the harm his actions have caused. He has never tried to excuse his behavior. Instead, he has spoken with remorse and accountability. I truly believe he understands the seriousness of his actions and the impact that it had on others, our family, and his own life. During his incarceration, I personally witnessed Hardeep make meaningful efforts to improve himself. One of the biggest changes I have seen in his commitment is to maintain sobriety from alcohol. He has spent a great deal of time reflecting on personal issues and poor decisions that have contributed to his offense. He has worked hard to understand and better himself, making healthier choices moving forward. From my conversations with him, I can say he is no longer the same person he was at the time of the events. Our family fully supports Hardeep and is committed to helping him successfully reintegrate into society after his release. He has a strong family and friends support in Canada, California, and India. We are prepared to help him financially, emotionally, and whatever else he might need to rebuild his life in a positive, productive way. If he returns to India, he will have a place to work at his family farm. Our family regularly travels to India and maintains close connections there. We will continue to support him through regular communication, visiting him, guidance to ensure that he remains on the right path and continues to make positive choices. I sincerely believe Hardeep has changed and that he is remorseful and that he is committed to living a responsible, lawful life moving forward. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to circle back to Rebecca Racken.
Good afternoon. I'm counsel for Hardeep Singh. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The governor's referral raised the question of whether Mr. Singh has sufficiently mitigated his risk factors for sexual offending and substance abuse and developed adequate coping skills. The answer is yes. As noted in the governor's referral, Mr. Singh's score on the static 99 placed him in the below average risk category, but it was not just below average. His score was lower than 90% of all offenders. The CRA, which was completed before his previous hearing and is now 2 years old, rated him a moderate risk. But since then, Mr. Singh has continued to utilize mental health services and completed a number of rigorous programs in sex offending related subjects, including Lighthouse 9 Pathways Program, Road to Freedom, Sex Addicts Anonymous, Voices Heal, and Brave. This work helped him greatly increase his self-awareness and coping skills in this area. In addition, he has remained deeply committed to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. This provides him an immense well of proven coping strategies to help maintain his sobriety, not just from alcohol, but in all aspects of his behavior. Critical among these skills are moral inventory, asking for help, and accountability. He developed relapse prevention plans for all relevant risk areas: sexual offending and paraphilia, substance abuse, domestic violence, unhealthy relationships, and anger. He has parole plans for California and for India, where he will most likely be deported, including housing, employment, and family and other support. English is not Mr. Singh's first language, and his hearing transcript may reflect that, but he did the best he could given his limitations with language and literacy, and most importantly, he addressed his risk factors for recidivism. For these reasons, I urge the board to affirm his parole grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last speaker I have is Lonnie Morris. Lonnie, go ahead and press *6 on your telephone, and that will help enable your microphone. I believe you are unmuted. Yes, sir?
All right. Yes, so my name is Lonnie Morris. Thank you for having me speak. I'm the founder and president of No More Tears. I won't take a lot of time because I know it's been a long day for everybody. Ms. Sierra Cardenas has already kind of represented what we're willing to help Mr. Singh with. But I will say on a personal note, I've been on Mr. Singh approximately 10 years. I was incarcerated with him at San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, and he's always been a respectful and positive person. He's always supported the work we do. He'd come to the chapel when he participated in our workshop series. He was very engaging. He's always open to learn and wanted to acquire skills that will allow him to be a positive person once he returns to society. And I fundamentally believe that Mr. Singh has done the work. He's prepared to return to society and make a positive contribution without resorting to criminal activity or criminal thinking. And so I support his release and grant of parole by his body. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Hardeep Singh.
Moderator, we'll now take speakers in opposition to Hardeep Singh.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers in opposition for Hardeep Singh.
All right, we only have one more case left on the agenda, and we want to hear from everyone that's been waiting to speak. We know some have had technical difficulties. So we'll start this next case, but if you've not been able to get through or you've not been able to get past the mute on your computer, you can call in 916-267-0857. Provide your information in the case you would like to speak on, and when we circle back, we'll try to make sure everybody gets that opportunity. But we still have one more case to call on our regular agenda. That's James Strawn, AV 2472, item 27. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speakers sign up to speak in support or opposition for James Strawn.
All right, as I said, there were a number of speakers that had technical difficulties. Go ahead and ask for anybody that's dialed in or has fixed their computer problems.
If you are signed up to speak on a case that is not yet spoken, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button or by pressing *5 on your telephone. This will help us enable your microphone. The first speaker that I have is speaking on item number 14 for Kenny Lee and its support. And I have Kristen Jung, and your microphone has been enabled. Go ahead and unmute yourself by pressing *6. Yes, sir.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Kenny Lee. My name is Christian Jung. I'm a local pastor, United Methodist pastor in La Palma, Orange County. I'm here to support Mr. Kenny Lee based on what I have personally witnessed in his character, his growth, and his readiness to return to society. Over the years of mentoring, 7 years to be accurate, I have witnessed Kenny's consistent humility, accountability, and sincere remorse for the harm he caused. He has invested deeply in his rehabilitation process through education, faith-based programs, daily choices that reflect maturity and emotional stability. Kenny has developed real insights into his past and has built healthier, pro-social ways of thinking and responding. The person he is today is grounded, reflective, and committed to living responsibly. If granted parole, Kenny will have a strong support network. Our church community is prepared to provide him with housing, employment, mentorship, and ongoing accountability. In fact, we call him as an evangelist to work as our evangelist within that confined system. So in my experience, Kenny has demonstrated the character and stability needed to live safely and constructively in the community. Thank you for your consideration in my statement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I wanted to follow up with item number 18, Tamara Robinson, and give Sandra Johnson another opportunity to speak. Ms. Johnson, are you with us? And Lauren Betty. And I have Cheryl Hall. Following up with item number 22, Janessa Kick. In support, I have Susan Bustamante. And Tammy Cooper Garvin. Chairperson, there are no more speakers signed up to speak on today's cases.
Is Mr. Brandenburg on item 25 still with us?
Mr. Brandenburg, I don't have a speaker card on for Mr. Brandenburg for item number 25.
All right, we had him listed in our speakers, so there's no others that have dialed in as far as you can see.
Not at this time, sir. I have no other speakers that have been added that I'm aware of.
All right, then on behalf of my colleagues, I wish to thank everyone for participating today. We will recess the open session of the May Executive Board meeting at this time. We will reconvene in open session tomorrow at 9 a.m. This meeting is now in recess until that time.